Oh, yeah. Oh. Caught you off guard, Angel. What's up, everybody? We're live. We're doing a thing. Angel wanted to skip our intro song, so we took it off. No intro music this time around. Got a little Zelda lo-fi. Check it out on Spotify. The reason why we did this is because I don't know if I'm legally able to use this, so that's why it was never a thing. But we're live. We're here. We're doing a thing. Myself, YourFace, Trindominus, to my left, your right, and we have a special guest already in the queue. We got GnarBlast, Ryan, Iron Man of Gaming, 2010 champion, on call. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you guys doing today?
You're supposed to be like first-time caller, long-time listener.
Love you guys. Love the show.
But yeah, we're going to be talking about some things. It's been a crazy week for gaming for once. We don't have that coronavirus thing going on.
Coronavirus!
So, as much. I mean, it is happening. It's slowing down the world, but gaming is taking its spot in terms of entertainment. And, you know, everybody's stuck inside just playing games, so that's all we have.
It's essential. Isn't that what
Yeah.
GameStop said?
Yes, exactly.
It's funny because I had to do very little to change how I really live my life.
Jefferson Rawls wants to know, are you going to be playing later to entertain us all in quarantine, Angel?
I guess I will, because I've had quite a few people contact me asking me for more Doom gameplay. So
Oops.
I guess, yeah, I will be playing later.
Alrighty, well, there you go. I myself may also be playing Doom. I think Ryan, by the way, follow Ryan on the Twitch, twitch.tv/gnar_blast, is that correct?
I hope so. I think so.
Well, whatever. He was playing Owlboy last
I
night.
don't know because everyone, all my platforms are all different because everyone steals my name. So I don't know which one is what anymore.
Yeah, I know how that feels.
Well, there you go. But yeah.
Yeah, Owlboy today.
Owlboy.
Right.
So we had some game releases, and we touched on a little GameStop being an essential service, delivering games to people. That played a part in the release of Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing, which both were supposed to come out on Friday, the 20th, and at GameStop they both released on the 19th. I think this might be the first time ever GameStop broke a street date for a Nintendo game because they kind of have to. Now they've announced that they're not going to allow people in stores anymore. So that coronavirus is even changing GameStop's evil ways. But yeah, Doom, Angel, you played it. I played it. What you thinking?
I like it a lot of it.
It
is great. Yeah, because Doom 2016 was a lot of fun. And they've actually made this one even better. I didn't think it would be possible, but this one is even better. They have a lot of good quality of life control improvements that made the game better. Graphics look better. Character models are better. The game is just as smooth as butter. And it actually has a really good narrative this time, too. Although I had a question for you a little bit later as we talk more. There seems to be a disconnect between the 2016 and this one.
I feel that as well, but we'll get into that in a moment.
Okay. So we'll talk about that later, but the narrative that they're presenting in here is actually really well done. So I love this game. It's an absolute purchase. Absolute purchase.
Yeah, I've started it, kind of started over on it. I played the first level twice, and I've gotten through the second level. And it's got me in the zone for sure. Like, there's some like optional challenges, like battle arena areas that you go into, and I come out like I realized I hadn't been breathing for like the last 30 seconds because I was just like all over the place, just jumping around, jumping up. What's that thing in gymnastics, the high vault or whatever? No, that's not it.
Yeah,
the high bar. I feel you're doing that while shooting people and chainsawing them and cutting them in half, punching their heads in just like you saw in the video. It's a lot of action, a lot of speed, and a lot of fun. Ryan, we're leaving you out for now since you haven't played Doom. You don't play first-person shooters, but based on what you've seen,
I've already established my dominance in the genre, so I'm switching.
but based on what you've seen, what do you think of this latest iteration of Doom and its sequel that just came out.
Oh, me? I haven't seen anything because I don't play those games.
Oh my
So
god!
don't
I know you were just talking about like the bonus levels that you can go into that from.
Well, yeah,
like,
because I played 2016 because a friend of mine told me about the hidden bonus level. I was just looking for those.
Yeah.
I just wanted to play the
go
old
back
school
to-
part.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to a simpler time, so I spent all my time in the new maps looking for the old level.
It's actually kind of interesting that you said it like that, looking for the old school times, because that's exactly how Doom plays. It plays like an old school title.
Can you
with all
aim?
of
Or
Can
is
you
it?
aim? Yes, you
No,
can aim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
no,
original
I-
Doom, you weren't able to aim. You just
That's
like
true.
shot.
It kind of
you
like
don't bring up
auto
the
aim.
crosshairs.
Yeah.
That's correct. So that's what I mean by old school. So they have the old school play style, but they take full advantage of all the new school graphics, ledge
the new
jumping, double
technology.
jumps, and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. Yeah, it's a wonderful blend of both.
Yep. Jefferson Roll wants to know whose gameplay we're watching. I'm not sure actually. I'm just using a YouTube video, hoping that they don't watch this video and sue us for using their content.
Yeah, you're about to get copyright struck. The whole thing's gonna go down.
I mean, it's
looks
Doom. It's literally like what we played through in our streams. It's all the same, just without our faces on it. This is the first level, and like the most like shocking, no, not shocking, but like apparent thing, especially when you're like up close and personal, chainsawing something in half, is like the character models. They just seem, for me, it's a little distracting, but they're better, yes, but they kind of look more like clay, waxy, like kind of more like figures. And you see that also with like the collectibles that you come across, that they're like little action figures and they're designed that way. And I know there's a lot of inspiration from action figures, like especially when it comes to like customizing your Doom Slayer and stuff like that. So I wonder if that's more of like the art style they were purposely intending to go into. But it kind of was distracting versus like what I'd seen already, or what I'd been seeing, especially when Angel was just playing it. I don't know, Angel, what were you seeing? Comparatively from what you played, Doom 2016 versus Doom Eternal.
So that's actually a good point, because I did notice a different look / a different feel when I was doing the glory kills. It just looked different, but I think that might be a side effect of the graphical overhaul that they did. So, and for me it was a little more jarring because I just recently played the 2016 game.
Yeah.
So maybe like a week, 2 weeks ago, and then
So it was fresh for you then.
it was fresh, yeah, brand new. So going from the 2016 version to this version, it was very clear to me what was improved, what was changed, what was added. But that's why I say from a graphical standpoint, it is better because the characters have more definition. But you're correct. I agree with you. It does have like this strange claymation feel to it at the same time.
Here, I'm trying to pull up a comparison video right now.
Yeah, it's very difficult to explain, but I did notice that there was an improvement. You see it the most, I believe, on the eyeballs, the floating eyeballs. That's where you see the biggest, I think, difference in terms of character model. That's where I noticed it first, and then especially when I went in for the glory kills.
I think it was a lot. It has to do with a lot of the lighting and just like the original was, or the remake was a lot more gritty. It definitely uses a lot more red. Why is this in like 2 times speed? Maybe I should slow this down.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, because we are playing in a different place, which goes with the narrative, right? This feels more almost campy in regards to how the other one felt.
Yes, especially some of the glory kills where you're like, it's comedy. I mean, you're just punching a guy's head into his body and he falls over and dies. That's
what I mean by there's some differences. So it went, and for me, my Doom lineage is like Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 3, Doom 2016, and then this one. So
You didn't play Doom 64?
No, I never played Doom 64.
Where is that? This is one shot.
But this is a good one too. That's a good comparison there. But the eyeball is probably one of the best ones. But this character model,
you can see it right here in the guns. Like these are more kind of earthy colors, darker, but then these are just like shiny and
Yeah.
like really bright.
Campy is the word that I keep coming up with, but I'm not sure if that's the right word to articulate what I'm thinking. But I think that's what it is. It's kind of campy.
Trying to get this screenshot here because the first time I chainsaw one of these things, I don't even remember what they're called. But the first time I chainsawed it, I'm like, this is weird. It was a little off-putting at first. Oh my god, whatever.
But
I can't find it.
See it like right there. So if you look at the two eyeballs, right, you can see a big difference in terms of the quality in the detail that's done for the character model. And then you see that too. I noticed it when I went in for the glory kill. I'm like, yo, I'm seeing a lot more
This
than
one
was
right
here
here.
a couple weeks ago. But I like it. I like it, and I understand why the color is going to change. Also, the direction, because now we're fighting on Earth as opposed to this dark Mars zone.
Yeah.
And then jumping into hell. So
Exactly.
of course, the color too is going to change, but again, it's a throwback, right? I feel like it's a throwback. They're like, yo, have fun, kill some stuff, don't take it too serious. This is a Doom game. That's what I feel.
I mean, that's true. What else? I guess let's go back to a little bit of the combat. The other thing, when I first walked up first level, I guess I can rewind this video since it is the first level. I went in thinking I was playing Doom 2016, and in Doom 2016, like the first enemies are just like pushovers. You literally just punch them, and they're instantly going into stun.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, I'd punch them, they just look at me and be like,
Yeah, no.
they just brush it
'cause
off.
No, you could. So I try and do. I'm pretty sure Ryan does the same thing. Maybe Ryan can speak on this too. But whenever I play a video game for the very first time, after being a competitive gamer, the first thing that I do is I test out the combat. I'm looking for combos. I'm trying to understand like the frame rates, what impacts frame rate, jumping, and I'm hitting different button combinations to see if it, has an impact on the characters. And that was one of the first things I noticed. I was like, oh well, how much damage? What is the DPS that's necessary to send him into a stun phase? And I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure it's just like a punch, 2 punches. Nah, son. Nah, not at all.
I feel like it's different too, like at certain points. Because especially in this first level, start of the game, I would punch people like 5 times. They would never go into stun. Then after I cut that dude's head off, whatever, later on, then it was like 2 punches, stun, 1 punch stun, shotgun, 1 punch stun. I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm not really understanding the combat just yet. But
yeah, it does. I did notice that too, and I talked about that on the stream yesterday because I didn't get stuck, but I spent a lot of time in an optional battle because it was just chaos. But that's what I was pointing out too. Like it depends. It seems like it depends on distance, angle, how many enemies are on the screen will actually impact the damage, like the DPS mathematics per character. And
Do you think there's boundaries? Do you think there's damage boundaries like in Street Fighter 2? But well, no, because so in Street Fighter 2, all the damage was kind of random, but there was upper and lower bounds on damage at every time, all the time. So I'm saying, do you think that the damage is literally random, but there's like it's kind of within bounds?
I can see that.
Maybe 50 points.
Honestly, though, I can see that.
Too. I can see that.
I need to play it more, and of course, with upgrades later on, you would be able to do more and do more damage. I like there's that punch that just like obliterates everything. Devmani says you're putting too much thought into it. If you're not playing on Nightmare, well, this is how you this is a precursor to playing to Nightmare. You got to understand the game before you jump in.
Absolutely. It's music. It's a symphony, right? It's a symphony. I demonstrated that in my gameplay. Once I got used to the sound cues, I was able to predict when an enemy was going into stagger. So like Ryan was saying that maybe there's a upper and lower limit. That could be true, but do you guys hear my grandma over there knocking on stuff? She's cooking right now. But I think it has to do. I don't necessarily think there's an upper and lower. I think it's proximity. I think the damage is based off of proximity to target, and somehow is affected by how many other enemies there are on screen. But again, to be fair, my gameplay experience is on the old PlayStation 3 from 2013, so that might have something to do with it as well. But I did notice that the stagger effect would trigger at different times based off of proximity.
Yeah.
So
There's something
kind of
else
interesting.
I was gonna
But
mention.
that kind of answers the question though, and I'll throw this at Ryan since he's on the call right now. But when you play a video game, do you do that? Like, do you break it down to understand the game, or do you just play the game for fun and then whatever happens?
I just go right.
Okay.
No. I mean, with everything. Obviously, I'm not going to be. I'm not a nerd. I'm not going to read the manual, so you figure everything out on your own. so you just kind of run around and get bodied for an hour. You start realizing what's going on, then you fix it.
I kind of expected that answer, honestly. Especially as soon as Angel went to I think about the damage per second, in my head I'm like, Ryan just plays the damn game and eventually gets good at it, just naturally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm looking for patterns. I'm listening to sound cues and.
Well, for me, patterns are more for boss stuff or stuff like that. But I also play. I play different games than you guys do, so it's the games that I usually play are generally more pattern based on enemies and stuff.
Right.
So I'm just kind of more used to doing that in settings like boss fights, not necessarily a random enemy on the way to it, a waypoint or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. I pay attention to everything. So when I got into that optional mission, what I noticed was that, for instance, if I have the plasma rifle, right, and there's there's a music sound to it. So I don't know how many plasma shots come out, but there's a rhythm to it. So if I'm running towards an enemy and I get a just bear with me, right? That's what it sounds like. What I hear is so I know if I'm running towards an enemy and I get the it'll do just enough damage to send them into stagger for the glory kill.
Did you change?
But if I'm standing in,
continue.
I'm standing in place though, the sound changes. The damage isn't the same. So, I don't know. Maybe I got problems. I'm not really sure. I'm going to evaluate my life now.
I mean, if you get enjoyment out of studying the game, is there really a problem there? But
I don't think so.
I was going to ask a question. In terms of settings, did you change anything in terms of audio cues? Because I don't know if they actually affect the game. I know I changed mine to classic because they have a lot of Quake style sounds, and I'm so familiar with Quake games and stuff like that. But you didn't adjust any of that, did you?
No. The only thing I adjust in every game that I play, I have to do inverted look. So
me too. Yeah.
I have to do inverted look. And then for me, it's kind of weird, but I also bring down the sensitivity. So I would rather have slow twitch. So my sensitivity is a lot lower, but it increases my accuracy, if that makes sense, which increases my overall speed.
Sure. Yeah. I don't believe you.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. But that's what I do. I slow it down. By slowing it down, I'm able to speed up my overall actions. Devmani's asking, are you using the weapon wheel properly? Yeah, I am. I'm using it properly. Once I figured out that you could just tap in order to go back to what you had previously.
I honestly haven't even really used it, actually, now that I think about it. Since I've only had 3 guns, I can easily switch on my scroll wheel up or down on PC to whichever gun I want.
Oh, yeah. No, I use it on console.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use it quite a bit.
What was I doing? I was trying to look at something and I forgot.
And I like how they have the flashback too. So if you just tap the button, it'll throw it back to whatever the previous weapon you had, that was nice. That's really nice. I like that quite a bit. It's good. This game, the quality of life improvements, you can tell were made by people who like the game that they're making.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. They put in hours playing the game, and they said, it would be great if this was fixed. And then they were like, oh shit, we can change it. And then they changed it. That's what this game feels like.
It's funny you were talking about studying the game and nonsense like that. I went to an actual a discussion for Doom 2016 after it came out, just by happenstance. I happened to be at a convention. And the developers are Dallas-based, so they happened to be there. They're like, we're going to talk about Doom level design. And went into this whole thing about designing ways to make sure people went the right way and found or like got to the encounters they needed to get to and completed them the way they needed to. And in this one, what level are you, or what difficulty are you playing on?
The chat chose Hurt Me Plenty.
Okay, so I'm doing the same. The one thing I didn't like, I'm pretty sure that it's not in Nightmare or anything else, but they like tells you what like the major enemy's weak spot is.
Weakness side. Yeah, that's, I didn't like that. I don't like that.
So like,
I did not like that.
Already going in, you like already know how to kill everything. It's not really a challenge to learn, unless you don't read like Ryan and just skip the tutorial. Then he gets destroyed by a spider for 20 minutes in Ori, and that's how you end up in that situation.
Yeah, that I didn't like. That was probably my only disappointment, was that they put that up there. I understand that a tutorial is good, but putting up the weak spots for specific animals during the play, or animals, but for different enemies during gameplay, I think is that was bad juju. That I disagree with.
Well, yeah, but there's better ways to implement like a tutorial kind of thing. You don't have to spell it out like that. You can. There's different ways to do that, to where you're still teaching the player how to do something properly, without having like a giant glowing spot on an enemy or something.
Yeah, no, they actually stopped gameplay. Had a little video play to show you exactly where you needed to shoot this person.
Oh God, that's obnoxious.
Yeah, it was.
Is there a way to turn that off? I would turn that off.
I don't know. I wish.
That's a good question. I didn't even look it up because I don't read. I just play.
The only settings I looked at is Ultra Nightmare, like graphics and frames per second. I wanted everything as high as possible before I started the game, and still trying to figure out the frames per second. It says 60, and I can't change that. Like I want to get that to 120, 144 for my monitor, but it's whatevs. I'll hopefully be able to fix that. Demoni says, talking about challenge, that he's got words for both of us. I'm not sure if he's saying that he's playing on a higher level than us, or I don't know.
It's a little different too, you know. First off, for my defense, I let the chat choose, and that's what the chat chose, okay? Secondly, it's a little more difficult to stream a video game at a higher level versus just chilling at home playing it. So, like, I could play on a higher level, like after I've already done the first playthrough is actually a little better. So most games I'll just jump into on hard. I'll play hard and then I'll jump up to extreme after I've had one cycle through.
And I'm the same way.
So do you still have to beat the game once to unlock the hardest difficulty?
No, it's already unlocked from the start.
It's already there. Okay.
Yeah, this one is definitely player focused, player friendly.
And I'm the same way. I just want to get through the story first, especially for stream. And with all the games I have unfinished right now, I can't sit there and play Ultra Nightmare. I will play it eventually, because I probably will have to if QuakeCon doesn't get canceled, if this Corona thing doesn't keep going on. Just for competition's sake, I will have to learn the game at Ultra Nightmare, but right now that's not my concern, so I'm not going to play on Ultra Nightmare, just so I can finish the game at a decent amount of time. But we talked about story, and just like it reminds me of like Halo 2 cliffhanger ending to Halo 3. Like there's this huge chunk of time of stuff that occurred, and we didn't get to see any of it, and I have no idea what's happening in this game. We got Nordic like gods and werewolves and stuff, and I'm like, what is happening in this game right now?
Yeah. So so the timeline in Doom is messed up, and I think didn't I talk about this?
Yeah, we discussed it last time a little bit.
So the timeline is messed up, right? It's not actually happening chronologically, or it is if you get rid of Doom 3 and the expansion of Resurrection, right? If you throw that game out the window and just think of it chronologically 1 through now, we're playing at the point after the Doom Slayer went in, killed everybody. There was a point where the Hell actually opened a portal on Earth and did a lot of damage. I guess that was covered in the N64 game. I'm not really sure.
I mean, that might make sense just because it was attached to this. That makes more sense as to why that was the add-on bonus thing. But Devoni's going to break it down for us. Is he in the chat? All right, let's bring Devoni in.
Yeah, Devmani, are you? Yeah, is he? Let's put the link in for the whatever, and we'll get Devmani in here.
I mean, he's ready to go. You need to do
Let's
you
go.
on your server, since you're the one who's. Oh shit! Now I broke it.
He's in my server.
No. I'm saying on in your Discord or your Twitch, you need to. Why can't I move you right now? What's going on?
What do I got to do on my Twitch?
Put the link for people to join if they want to join in. Or unless you fixed it to where I can put links in.
How do I get the link?
Oh my! It's in the thingy. Look, I'm trying to do things right now. Everybody's. Why can't I drag you in? There, we got you. They made it. They did an update. All right, Devmani, what's up? How's it going? Doom Master Devmani here.
What's going on? All right. So the whole thing. Let's talk about the Arachnotron and them showing you how to defeat it and whatnot. They show you that because if you're playing on a harder difficulty, you don't have time to figure that out. Period. I'm only playing on Ultraviolence, and they are relentless. They chase you down. Their grenades, even if you shoot off their turret, their grenades are like heat seekers, and the pace is so much faster than on Hurt Me Plenty or other easier levels. I just jumped into Ultraviolence because I was like, why not? You know, I played Hurt Me Plenty a lot. So I get why they did that, because you just don't have time to breathe in those arena battles. Now, I don't know if you guys have been using your weapon wheel properly, but when you bring up your weapon wheel, time slows down.
Yeah.
And you can still see the screen to a degree.
So that's what you mean by using it properly.
See, I don't stop the game for anybody or anything. I don't need to stop no time. I just shoot them. Doesn't matter what I got.
I mean, it's a waste of time.
I get it. You're on Hurt Me Plenty. You don't have to worry about anything. But when you're ready to go to Ultra Nightmare, you'll be like, man, this weapon wheel, thank God it exists.
I'm trying to remember like how much I don't think I even remember having to really use the weapon wheel in the level I did learn in Ultra Nightmare. Mm-hmm. Just for like, not speed running, but score attack stuff. Because just obviously the weapons were basic at the time. And then there was another level. I don't know. I do see the benefit of that going forward in the future in higher difficulties, though, just being able to have time to think, especially like in those challenge mode optional areas.
Right. So Doom 3 exists outside of the Doom timeline. It's parallel.
Yes. Okay.
Because Doom 3 is Doom Marine. Doom is Doom Guy. And then, of course, Doom 2016 and Eternal is Doom Slayer. So the connecting point in all of these is Doom 64. Okay. Because at the end of Doom 64, Homeboy is in hell, and he's just like, I'm just going to kill everything here. Like, this is what I live for now.
Well,
and it's just a continuation of that.
Hold on. Let me pause you real quick, because I thought Doom Guy ended up choosing to stay in hell, which then made him the Doom Slayer.
Correct.
Right? Okay. So
right, but Doom Marine is Doom 3.
Yeah, Doom 3, that's different. I agree. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. That's different.
And I don't know if you've wandered around your base in the game yet, but there's all these like Easter eggs in there. Mm-hmm. So the Soul Cube is sitting on the console, like on his desk, which is from Doom 3. Mm-hmm. So that's still tying into the Doom 3. So there's a lot of things saying like all this is still kind of connected in some crazy way.
Okay.
Yes. So it's Doom 2, Doom 64, Doom 2016, Doom Eternal.
So that's okay. That makes sense. And that's what I figured out as I was playing the game, but it was a little jarring because, as I said before, I just finished up a Doom 2016, so I was expecting them to pick up where Doom 2016 left off and then continue running, but they didn't. They just went someplace else, and I was like, whoa.
You start the game, Vega's talking to you, you're like, oh man, homeboy Vega's back?
Yeah, I was like, I thought Vega died. Like, what is happening right now? But then I was like, it's Doom. Does the story matter? Not really. Let's go kill
You're
stuff.
opening portals. You got a space station. You got the watchtower. Like, what's going on?
I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So, but I'm hoping, my hope is that as I get through the story, that by the time we beat the game, that it'll flesh out some of the gaps that are there for people who just jump from 2016 to Eternal. And if not, I just got to suck it up.
Yeah, just kill stuff. It doesn't matter in the end.
Yeah, so what do you think of the game, Devmani, going from Doom 2016 to Doom Eternal, since you've played both?
So 2016 was like the best of Doom 3 and the Doom franchise put together. I was like, this is what we wanted out of Doom. Like, to me, 2016 felt like almost an apology for Doom 3. Where they're like, hey, we're sorry we try to make it more like survival horror-ish and not focus on just like, gore and shotgun combat. And then going into Eternal, it's like, now this feels more like Doom 2 and it's just over the top, which isn't bad. It's kind of like, it's still a power fantasy. It's a male power fantasy for sure, where it's just like running through, punching, demons, shattering skulls, stomping on things, spitting in the face of authority. It's like, what if, Al Simmons never became Spawn and he became the Doom Marine?
Yeah, I felt the same way about Cuphead.
Well, the way this timeline I'm looking at goes, Cuphead might fall in here somewhere.
Right. It's just like, so I like it. It's a little jarring. I agree with everyone with that. It's definitely a little jarring with the way it's presented, because you're so used to Doom 2016. Even musically, I'm like, okay, these riffs are great, but it doesn't seem to hit the same way 2016.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what Eric was pointing out when he was showing that the different colors with the character models and how the colors are different and everything else, I think that is the best example of how much it has changed. Because I guess I should ask this question. This will just be a quick yes or no, and then we'll jump from there. We'll say Devmani, starting with Devmani. Did you like Doom 3?
For what it was, yes, I did like it.
And okay, so Eric, did you like Doom 3?
I didn't get to finish it, but I enjoyed what I played. I think I got about halfway through it. I liked it.
Okay, so that's I just wanted to be clear about that, because I wanted to go back to what Devmani had said, talking about that perhaps Doom 2016 was an apology for Doom 3. So if you could just get into that a little deeper, are you meaning that because they strayed from what people expected from Doom, or do you think that the majority of people didn't appreciate what Doom 3 was? And for the record, I loved Doom 3. The whole horror thing with the headphones at night, loved it.
It was both, right? Doom as a franchise has always been a running gun. Doom 3 slowed that down completely. There was a lot of like monster in the closet jump scares in the game, and that wasn't traditional of Doom. Now, I mean, I remember playing Doom on the PC when it came out, and there were jump scare moments. You open the door and imps just in your face. You're like, oh god, these graphics are like so real.
25 years ago.
Right. And, I think Doom 3 tried to like get that feeling back, but it was just like, oh, here we are in a bathroom that's dimly lit that I can barely see, and there's probably an imp hiding in one of the stalls.
That's true.
Here comes the imp running out of the stall. It became very cliched and predictable. It definitely, you compare those jump scares to something like Dead Space, where you knew things were going to be bad when you walked into the room. You just didn't know how it was going to be bad, and they kind of always kept you guessing.
Right.
And now, I mean, I'm comparing two separate franchises and two different styles of play, but in the whole vein of horror, one did it much better than the other. Not to say I didn't like Doom 3. And then I also felt that Doom 3 was kind of riding off of Quake 4. Right? That was a Rhino Squad, Quake 4, when your character gets captured and kind of turned into a Strogg. and then you're like fighting against the Strogg. And I love the Quake series. That is my favorite id series. Like Quake 2, we don't count Quake because Quake was crap. That was John Romero just wanting to do John Romero stuff.
Okay.
Sorry to John Romero if he's listening, but Quake was garbage. Quake 2 was actually the beginning of the Quake franchise.
Right.
And I felt it was kind of a little of that too. Like Doom 3 was like, let's try to make it a little more like Quake, because Quake was a little more body horror, I felt, because like taking human bodies and transforming them into these monsters and things like that. And they wanted to do that more. But yeah, I like Doom 3.
Okay.
That's
an interesting. Yeah, well, I'm deep in thought right now because he gave me something different to take into my calculation of the impacts of the people on the Doom franchise, because it going from Doom 3 to 2016 was a huge shift. If you played Doom 3 and then jumped to 2016, it was a huge shift in what you were used to, but in the overall picture, it was a shift back to what it used to be, if that makes sense. But jumping from Doom 2016 to Doom Eternal was yet another shift, especially when we're talking about, not even talking about the graphical fidelity. Yes, it was an improvement, but the color schemes, it's less, I don't want to use the word scary, but it doesn't have that same, I don't know how to explain it.
It's definitely brighter.
Ambiance.
It doesn't have...
Right. The
Yeah.
ambiance is different. It's not as creepy or satanic or as dark. And I keep using the word campy, but that's only because I don't know how to articulate the thought correctly, because I don't think campy is correctly describing it. But the colors are brighter. The way the characters look, they're less imposing. The music is more... It's more about rocking out, getting hype, and blowing shit up than it is about being hype, but at the same time just slightly terrified at the fear that's being caused by the situation. If that makes sense in terms of the music.
So here's a question for you. Do you think that the way that Doom Eternal is being shown to us graphically is just a representation of Doomslayer's perception of the reality around him?
Oh, God.
So things aren't as scary to him anymore. I know, it's real metaphysical, right? Things aren't as scary to him anymore. It is just like comical, like how dare these demons try to fight me? It's once again male-powered fantasy and things like that. It's just that's him, taking it in. Like the whole world to him is just like, okay, well, let me just shotgun this guy and punch this other guy's head into his shoulders and tear out the eyeball of this. This KO demon just ate a grenade and he gulped it down. So comically.
To be fair, I am playing with the character skin that I got from Twitch. So my guy is a unicorn, right? So if you watch my stream, it fits right into what you're saying, because my guy looks ridiculous and he's surrounded by all of these demons. But what you're saying is also true, because we're powerful enough to take on these scary monsters, which means they're not as scary. So from that perspective, yes, I do agree with you that it would not be as intimidating. But I don't feel that it was designed to be that deep. That's some next level. That's a next level concept right there.
I don't agree with that. Just the way the story is and how out there it is at this point, just from what I've seen. I think, well, maybe in terms of like the graphic design, maybe not that deep, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out everything as it's being digested by my eyeballs, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the end.
So even Hariel, aka Dave, wrote in there too. He's on the same page with Dead Money. He's like, Doom guy was trapped in hell, wasn't he? He's probably like, well, it's just another Tuesday. So it is true. Like, coming from that perspective, that makes sense. Yeah, it does. But I think from an aesthetic game design, trying to bring the player into it, I'm not sure if all of like the entire game would be designed from that perspective without that being made clear, for fear that the gamer would think that this is the new, this is how hell is, and it kind of goes away from what 2016 had created, that fear, if you will. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that more. That's actually a good one.
I just need to look into this timeline. That's what I'm gonna do next.
That's a good point. Yeah, the timeline's messed up. If you take out Doom 3, it makes sense.
I feel like it's more of a side story to me. Like it could make sense like in that way, since obviously it's not the same person.
I mean, we're messing with portals, so alternate reality.
I hate that. I hate that. That shit's so lazy, but it is. So just to be clear, Doom Slayer and Doom Guy are the same person.
Correct. Doom Marine is Doom 3's character.
That's right. That's different. That's different. But it's just the same person, and I like the way that they express that in 2016 as opposed to what they're doing here. It's I don't know. It's very different.
I want to say, just based off, I don't think we're playing it in the right lighting settings. Like unless you're like running HDR and everything, you're not seeing the game represented the way it was originally developed. So maybe it could that could play some differences. Well, okay. Well, if you're seeing the same thing we're saying, then it doesn't matter. But I know for myself and Angel, we don't have the HDR.
Yeah, I'm not on that level yet.
I don't know. Well, it's fun. We're going to keep playing it. I wish it was cross-platform for multiplayer, and hopefully the story makes sense in the end. I
agree.
I think we can wrap it up here with Doom Eternal.
Agreed.
Thank you, Dev Monty, for
I got
your
a last
insight.
question for you.
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel that Doom Eternal feels more like Quake 3 Arena as far as the gameplay?
I've never played that, so I can answer that question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's more for Eric.
Speed-wise, I could say that. They obviously are like just universe-wise, they do borrow weapons from each game. Or not universe-wise, but like developer-wise. The plasma rifle, and then there's that like lightning gun attachment now, which I love. But
it's dope.
I can say that just because this game is doomed. I can say that to certain degrees. Yeah, it was terrible. That wasn't me. It was in the chat. I was just reading what the chat said.
Oh yeah, pass the buck. Yeah.
Okay, what'd you say? Cuphead being in the universe? Okay. Yes, it obviously borrows some.
I said I get the same feeling of male superiority at playing Cuphead.
Yeah, okay.
I like male power fantasy. The perfect description.
Obviously, they're going to borrow from Quake 3 since it's one of their more beloved franchises. I wish they'd borrow more from Quake 3 for Quake Champions. That'd be great. But that's a topic for a different.
I wish we got a new Quake.
Day.
Period.
Yeah, from id Software, not outsource Quake. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of what Bethesda's doing to id now, which is so annoying. Like they did with Wolfenstein, Rage, Quake. I feel like all their franchises that id did perfectly fine with on their own is just getting sprung off to every other developer they can find, and it's like losing quality, I think. I don't know. Bethesda sucks. I hate them. Speaking of Bethesda, though, they were attempting to put DRM into Quake, or not, excuse me, Doom Eternal.
Oh yeah.
And they ended up making like a cracked version and leaving it in the game files that anybody can use, or people were using to like get the game for free. It's absurd.
Oh no, they didn't take it out?
No. So they got like all this bad publicity and press for like putting in their DRM into Doom Eternal, and then they forgot to take out the un-DRM version, and it's just sitting in the game files right now. Terrible. But Bethesda does what Bethesda does, just breaks stuff.
They're trash anyway. They're not the same.
Yeah.
So I guess final thoughts. I guess
Bethesda.
that would be the point for final thoughts, Tarek. If you want to start off with your final thought, and then we'll move on to the next whatever.
I thought I did say my final thoughts, but I'll say them again. Play the game. It's fun. It's good. It's
Eric is on the pain on my list again.
Oh damn, psych!
Not listening.
Angel, thoughts. Final thoughts.
It's a good game. Buy it. Have
There
a
you go.
good time.
Dev money.
And it's very refreshing in a time where games are requiring you to put in a lot more effort than is necessary to kill stuff. So get Doom. It's fun. It's challenging. You won't regret it.
Yeah, I third that. Buy it for sure. I would say play it on harder difficulties to be frustrated, and also just to really
get
enjoy it. Like, really enjoy the pacing and everything else. Like, there's a little more strategy in the game than it first shows you. There's layers to it, and I think the harder difficulty modes really make you learn those much faster.
Yeah. True that.
Yeah, I can agree
great.
with that as well.
I guess it's on to the next game, which I haven't played, but I'm about to talk some shit about. Let's go.
All right, Dev Money, thanks for helping us out with the timeline and everything.
Thanks, Dev. I appreciate you, bro.
You can join us every week, any week. We'll talk games. But yeah, so let's get over to the other game that's taken over the world. A little game called Animal Crossing. Angel, thoughts on Animal Crossing? Just as someone who's never played it, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are pretty simple as someone who's never played the game. From looking at it aesthetically, the combat system and how it plays, I just have to say that I have no idea what's going on.
The combat system. There is actually, there is a combat system in Animal Crossing to a degree. I'm getting my ass kicked by this spider. I started the game. There's like a spider, like just chilling out in the main area, and I'd be sprinting everywhere, so I wouldn't see it, and it'd come out and just like obliterate me, and like I was mad. I wanted to catch this damn spider, and it would run away when I brought out my net. When I didn't have the net out, it just came and bit me and like sent me back. I fainted, sent me back to my house. It's terrible. But yeah, Animal Crossing is just kind of like capitalism in the game.
Is it really? I know nothing about it. Like, I have no idea. Ryan, do you play Animal Crossing?
No.
No.
I have no idea what kind of game. I think it's like a Sims kind of game.
Yeah, there is.
Look at this. So 2 out of 3 badasses don't play Animal Crossing. What does that say about Animal Crossing?
Are they going to say, what does that mean about me being a badass? Dev Money wants back in. We'll get Dev Money back in.
Yeah,
Yo, let me tell you about this Animal Crossing, right? First things first, man. I'm naming my island. I named it something stupid. I'm not even going to say it on stream. But one of the islanders is Iggly the penguin, and he wants to name it Swoleville. And I was so mad. I did not think of Swoleville.
Yeah, Iggly's a pimp. I got him on my island too.
Yo, Iggly is the greatest. I'm really liking it. I haven't really played Animal Crossing since the GameCube version. Couple of tips.
I'm the same.
If you dig up some money, like the 1,000 bell bag, dig that up. Make sure you have 10,000 bells. Turn that into an item, and then bury 10,000 bells in that same hole, and you'll grow a money tree worth 30,000 bells.
Damn, I was trying to figure out what that glowing hole was, and I should have done that. What the hell was I thinking?
Yeah, man.
I need some 30,000 bells right now. I got to pay off my house.
Every time, it'll grow 30,000 bells. It takes like 3 to 5 days.
No, I don't get that kind of time.
You will. I mean,
That's true.
Tom
It's $30,000. You're right.
I mean, he's good for the loan. He doesn't care when you pay it back, as long as you pay it back.
Hold on.
Yeah, that
let's ask you
spider.
this for somebody who doesn't know what the hell Animal Crossing is about, can you summarize and hold on a second. Come on in, Grandma.
Let me see if I can find this tweet.
Am I being too loud? I'm doing the show right now. Yeah, you want to come in and say hello real quick?
Let me get Angel's camera.
There you go. Right, see, so you're up right there. So you're gonna show up, right? You're gonna show up here a little bit. Just go ahead and say hello. See, they can see you right now, Grandma. Just
Say hello.
We can sort of see you.
Hello, Grandma.
To your grandmother, we
Let's say
said
hello,
hello.
Grandma. They're saying hello, Grandma. Okay. All right. She's so lovely. This is so sweet.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you need to get her on the show one Sunday just to talk about recipes and stuff, man.
I'm gonna have to. She is hilarious. She's a wonderful woman.
Great.
Wonderful woman.
So
I'm
you were
sorry,
saying-
sorry about that. So yeah, I'm sorry. So the question is, I don't know what Animal Crossing is about. So I know it's important because a lot of people want it and a lot of people talk about it, but I have no idea what it's about. So how would you explain that to someone like me?
Okay, so I just threw a tweet onto the screen. It says people who never played Animal Crossing are like, so what do you do? And this guy's like, bro, nothing. We literally just vibing. I caught a fish, then sat on a tree stump. I'm on cloud 9 over here. It's just, you literally just run around. It's a sim game. So really the goal of the game is to just build up.
Right.
The goal of the game is to just like build up yourself, get a new house. Like you start off in a little tent, then you upgrade to a house. You got to pay off your loans. You do like menial labor, like this comment or this meme right here, Nintendo. So you hate doing chores, right? Me, totally. Nintendo, you hate working at a job, right? So much. What if you did all that while hopelessly in debt to a capitalist raccoon? Will it be cute? I ask. And Nintendo's like, so cute. And then me plays it for 20,000 hours. It's really just, you know.
So it's like a cute sim.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, cute capitalism, but like the characters, they have like their own like place in the world. They all do different things. This one you kind of explore. You create an island, and you're building that up while also exploring other people's islands. You just get into complete nonsense. Like last night, I was playing with a bunch of people, and someone made us all ocarinas, and we just ran around the island like playing the worst song ever because we're just mashing the ocarina button. So you just hear toot, 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 and we're just running around pissing each other off. It's like it's complete nonsense. It's life. It's like Seinfeld. It's the game about nothing. You just run around.
Yeah. I mean, I have a villager. She's a horse. Her name is Renee.
Is Renee the one that looks like Deadpool, or is that someone else? I'm trying to remember.
I just processed what that is. It's like,
Oh, you're the best.
I just processed.
Angel coming in with the hot take.
Yeah, when I saw her name was Renee, I had to put my Switch down for like 5 minutes and walk away. I was like, all right, you got me. You got me. But yeah, that tarantula is no joke. I mean, he rushes you. He's a rush down character, man.
I agree.
It's like I'm just minding my own business. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna catch him, and he just turns around, and it's just like a beeline, just.
And the worst part, that asshole will hide behind trees. Like I was saying, I was sprinting around my island at night, and he just popped out and bit me. I'm like, the fuck, dude? I'm so mad. Because they start you back at your tent.
Annoying too.
That's one of the bosses in the game. They got Wasp. You got to watch out for the Wasp. Tom Nook, final boss. Pay off your houses. Yeah, I don't. It's just like I've been talking about this subject with coworkers who a lot of them barely even know what Animal Crossing is, and somebody pointed out it's like a mobile game, except without microtransactions all the time. So you're just constantly doing stuff, and like there's this. You get to a point in the game where you get these miles plus. You pay with stuff called Nook Miles, and there's Miles Plus. So as you're going along through the game, there's like a Miles Plus like goal, or not a goal, but objective, and they're really easy, really simple. Like takes 5 minutes. So you knock one out, and another one populates in. And you're like, oh, I got to do that one too. So you just sit there for 30 minutes, an hour, just doing these Miles Plus goals, and that's what gets you hooked because you get that sense of accomplishment in doing stuff. Little things, and then they build up to the bigger things, and then you build up to paying your house off, which leads you to getting a bigger house, and then you got to do it all over again. So
they looked at the bounty system in Destiny, and they were like, "This works, man. Miles Plus." That's Animal Crossing for you, and you just have this wacky cast of characters, just bopping around your island, doing things. Like I said, Iggly, all he talks about is getting buff. He's like, "Yo, I'm gonna build a gym. I'm gonna get some free weight."
Yeah, he gives you items because they can't be used as weights. He's like, oh, I was trying to make weights out of this, but I can't do anything. So here, you can have them. And then it goes to helping you build up a new shop. So everybody helps everybody.
That's ridiculous.
And it's cute. That's all you can ask for.
All right.
But Devmani, final thoughts on Animal Crossing?
Now, I was asked weeks ago. Yeah, they shoot me. I was chewing on a Popeye's biscuit, so you know how that is. All the more stuff in my mouth. A few weeks ago, my coworker asked me, he's like, "Are you hyped about Animal Crossing?" And I looked at him and I kind of inhaled, then exhaled, and I was like, "It all depends on my girlfriend." And then she was like, "Oh, I'm getting Animal Crossing." I'm like, "Okay, then I guess I'm hyped about it." That's not to say I don't enjoy it, but between that and Doom, I would have definitely bought Doom first, which technically I did.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have bought Animal Crossing weeks later. But in this, this case, I bought two at the same time. I really enjoy it. It's fun. It's more of the same. Like if you enjoy Animal Crossing on GameCube or any of the others, you'll enjoy this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that on your little mini Switch, you get to play games. Because that was the thing on GameCube, right? Or am I hallucinating that? Is that a fever dream where you could play like old Nintendo games in the GameCube version?
That was a long time ago.
Right. But I swear they had like, you could just like having a console in your house was like the thing. Like once you got the console, you're like, yes. And then you're like playing little Super Mario Brothers or whatever because, it's like 8 bits of data.
But,
So hopefully something like that is in this version as well.
I think you might be right on that, just because those games were so small. But to piggyback off what Devani said, I bought it for the ladies. All my lady friends are playing it, so it's like a good time to. It's one of those social games, so you want to be able to play it when there's a community to play with, because you got to trade items, you got to go to their island, get the fruit you don't have, bring it over to your island, plant it so you can get fruit on your side, then give them your fruit, and it's definitely something to play when it first comes out. So that's why I definitely caved and bought it a day early. But yeah, I mean, I would recommend it if you got people to play with, and even by yourself. You got the islanders; they're cute, they're fun, they do stuff, and then you have mystery islands. So you don't even need to have friends. You can just jump onto the mystery islands, go explore, and gain new items and stuff from there.
Leave a ton of potholes on it and then leave.
Yeah, just ruins like a whole island. And the funny thing is, like the pilot, since you can never revisit the island, the pilot's just like, I'm gonna burn the map to this place, so you can do whatever the hell you want. Get back on the plane, and nobody will ever know what happened. So it is what it is. You steal what you want, and then you leave. Burn the whole place down.
To go back to what you were saying, Eric, it is a lot like a mobile game, but I think it's the best aspects of a mobile game. Animal Crossing isn't something that requires like 7-8 hours of your time in a day. Mm-hmm. Like you can play it for an hour, get a couple of things done, and then leave, come back in like 2 hours, and not too much has changed. You can kind of pick up where you left off, do some more stuff, and then there's a point where there's not much more you can do in a day. You're just like, I guess I'll have to come back tomorrow. Like you're waiting, there's still time-gated things. Like I was waiting for Blathers to appear on my island so I can get the start of a museum and I can get these other items to explore more of my island. But that wouldn't happen until the next day. So unless I time travel, aka changing system clock time, to forward it to do that, and then go back, you could do all this crazy stuff because that's like an actual thing, time traveling in the game with your system clock. Like the game recognizes it or something.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, well, I guess I'm done playing Animal Crossing for the day. I don't feel as if I need to play it to like get something done, which other games are like, if you're not on, games as a service type games, Destiny, Division, things like that. Like if you're not on all the time grinding something out, you're going to be behind the curve. This was like, yeah, you could just stop playing this and come back tomorrow. You'll have seen the progress you have made.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta wait for your house to build. It sucks. It takes a whole damn day.
Well, now I know what Animal Crossing is.
Do you? I think you gotta play it to really know.
Yeah, man. You do a whole bunch of stuff to stay busy and interact with people sometimes. That's it. That's Animal Crossing.
Close enough. All right, Devani, thank you again for joining us.
Thanks, Deb. Sure.
chatting about some Animal Crossing and Doom. Let's get on to our main topic, I guess.
Yes, we'll get GnarBlast to start blowing some stuff up here, talking about the GameStop.
Well, that's part of it. I think we already crossed that, but we're talking about the coming soon Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. We finally have, the full details on the Xbox side and some trickling of details on the PlayStation 5 side. And now the console wars have begun again, because, that's how people are. They take their sides.
Yes.
But, so you crash coursed a few hours before we started, Angel, because you looked at the show notes.
I do research because I take this serious. I'm a professional.
So, from what you've seen of this past week's news, what are your thoughts currently on Xbox? We'll start with Xbox, since that was talked about first.
It's difficult to talk about. I think it's really difficult to talk about specifically one system without also referencing the other system to try and give you some sort of context to each one of the conversational points.
It'll definitely bleed into the different thing, to each conversation as we talk about it.
Well, what is interesting though is that in this conversation with PlayStation versus Xbox, no one is talking about the Switch. I just want to throw that out real quick.
Well, that's because the Switch is already out.
Yeah, but I mean, even in terms of like comparison or talking about possible combat, market share.
At this
the
point,
Switch isn't even in the conversation, right?
No, at this point, Nintendo's kind of doing their own thing. Enough. But even with whatever,
everyone knows what the Switch is about.
Well, just Nintendo in itself, everybody knows what Nintendo is all about. It's kind of a foregone conclusion. They're not really going to be competing power tech wise. It's just they're going to do their own thing. They're going to come out with Animal Crossings and stuff like that, and people are going to play them regardless because everybody's essentially a diehard Nintendo fan for the most part.
Facts.
But yeah, let me see if I can find that.
Well, to get to your question, what I did notice right off the bat is that Microsoft is absolutely trying to be the most powerful gorilla on the block, right? So when you look at the specs, there were some interesting things that I noticed about the specs. I had some questions as to why they didn't improve things even further, but the specs are very close, but Microsoft went the extra mile to make sure that their specs were always better than what PlayStation was offering. So for instance, like the processors, the PlayStation is going to be pushing out 3.5 gigahertz, and Xbox was like, nah, son, we're going to go 3.8 gigahertz. Yeah, right?
Well, see, the thing about that, as we're talking about it, from the notes, like we have raw power is going to go to Xbox just because they're pushing for the computational power of like the teraflops and the
right. They just want power, raw power.
The issue when we start talking about PlayStation is that that's not the mentality that PlayStation's taking. I feel like they're in a better spot, but we'll continue on in that in a little bit. But continue, sorry, raw power.
Yeah, no. It's because what you're bringing up is exactly where I was going to transition into because.
Yeah, quit stepping on him, Eric.
That's right. So the Xbox is coming in with raw power, right? They're doing more teraflops, more computations, more storage. Everything is bigger, better, more. But when it comes to being the gorilla in the room, who's going to be the better
console?
What's going to be a better console, right? Yeah. And talking in terms of market share, I think that's where the player base is going to split because there are people out there who love big numbers. Like, oh shit, I have to have the best of the best. So there are people out there who are spending high dollar to get the best PCs, right? Getting the best version of things. I have a base level PlayStation, but there are people out there with the PlayStation Pros with the terabyte SSD hard drives and all that jazz. You know what I mean? So Xbox is looking to go for those people right off the bat. But what I think it's really going to come down to, we're talking about this off stream, backwards compatibility and first party software. PlayStation is on point, bro.
Yeah, there's no competition at this point.
PlayStation's on point.
Especially with whatever rumored games are coming out for PlayStation 5.
But if Xbox gets their backwards compatibility on point, that could be a game changer, though.
Well, that's already a
That could
done
change
deal,
things.
but for both
Right.
sides. Xbox confirmed everything you can play on Xbox One right now. Xbox, original Xbox, Xbox 360, you're going to play on Series X. It's already done. Same thing, just re-download them on the new system, you're good to go. PlayStation 5 is going to be backwards compatible with the top 100 PlayStation 4 games, and that's it. They haven't said anything in regards to, I left this on the screen by accident, they haven't said anything in regards to adding more games, but they're set on 100 games right now, so you're going to get The Last of Us remastered, the new Shadow of the Colossus remake, stuff like that, but you're not going to get those niche games, which is leaving people a little disappointed from what I've seen on social media and stuff. People wanted like a full console like library port and be able to use all those games.
Yeah. That's what I was hoping for too. So that's what I mean. That's going to be the difference, because if there are people out there who have a bunch of games that aren't on that top 100, then that's going to have an impact on what console they're going to be buying, at least in the beginning.
That's
That's where I'm at with that.
And with Xbox, they're making the mistake. Well, it's not a mistake. It's a good thing, but it's not a good thing at the same time. Backwards, yeah. The original PlayStation 3 is backwards compatible with the PlayStation 2. We missed some comments. First off, Lunatic, what's up? He said, "Yo." Devmani said, "Just call me out by name, Angel," because you were talking about people who have to buy the best of the best PC parts. And
I mean, I didn't say names, but, you know, whatever.
Built-in PS3 emulation. Yeah, on the original PlayStation 3, they had like that PlayStation 2 chip built in on those original run. I believe is how they had it. And yeah, they did go into detail on that PlayStation video about that. Let me see if I can find that part. We'll just play this.
One side, that flash
But in this case, I don't understand why they're only limiting it to 100 games, which is confirmed from what I'm seeing. Because they have the same architecture, console-wise, same CPU maker, same everything. There shouldn't be any like trouble, because Xbox can do it. Xbox is taking all Xbox One games and taking them across. So I don't know why PlayStation 4 can't do it, but they might have something to do with just how they're building the console. I don't know. We'll find out more details hopefully. But as I was saying about Xbox Series X and the mistake they're making, but also the non-mistake, is that there are like games first year, second year are going to be playable across Xbox One and Xbox Series X. You're not going to need to buy the new system. So when it comes out, like I myself might not even get it because I have a PC that can run any Xbox first-party game I need. If I want to play Halo, I'll play it on my PC. And I know a lot of people are going to be doing the same. And that's kind of like what's making me hesitant about Series X when it comes out, at least for a year. I think I can safely say I can wait for a price drop at this point, because there's no point in buying it day one if I can still play those games on what I already have. Halo 5 or Halo Infinite, whatever. Sorry, that's going to be coming out across all the games. Hopefully, it's cross-play. But if it's not, it's still going to be on PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X at launch. So the decision won't be that hard.
What are you thinking, Ryan? What do you think about this Xbox versus PlayStation 5 and backwards compatibility and all this jazz?
Let's see, I think Microsoft actually. What did I say before? It was something really smart. What did I say last time?
We were talking about the Kinect and like the idea of a media center.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it seemed like when the Xbox One came out, they were trying to gear more toward like an overall like living room setup, not just the gaming console.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're able to plug your cable box into the Xbox, and you can literally control the channel based on voice from the Kinect.
It's true.
Like, that stuff wasn't really available for the PlayStation 4 when it came out. I don't know if it is anymore now. I don't know. But it seems like they're moving more toward an actual like entertainment center, not just an actual console.
Yeah, for the Xbox One, and that got them a lot of heat for sure. On top of the heat they already had, because all this extra stuff they were putting in really slowed down that like first run console. I mean, that original Xbox One is a piece of garbage. It would like load terribly. It'd lock up in the menu. Just scrolling through the menu trying to find a game to buy, it'd lock up. So having to upgrade, or the necessity to upgrade, is like just was a frustrating part of this whole last generation in terms of Xbox. That in addition to like no new first party games that are worth playing, because they're all just sequels. They buy a company and then they just have them make a sequel for the game they've been making. Like Halo, they buy Halo, they make them do Halo 4 and Halo whatever.
Well, what are the big PlayStation exclusives then? There's God of War, which they're on like their 6th game, right?
But it was kind of a reimagining as well as a sequel.
Yeah, but it's still a sequel though. It's the same similar idea.
It's the same IP.
Yeah.
It's the same IP.
Yeah.
Like it's just, if you're gonna say like, oh well, Microsoft only has sequels, so did the PlayStation.
But we're talking about The Last of Us. Oh no, that was PlayStation 3. Excuse me. Ignore what I just said.
Yeah, and they made Last of Us 2. So what?
Spider-Man, Death Stranding. What other games did I buy recently? Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah. And that's just naming 3. I can't even name 3 for the Xbox that are original first-party games.
Halo.
That's not that are original. But they're doing the same thing with what is that game called? Hellblade. They're just making a sequel to that, which I don't think Hellblade needed a sequel, but it's going to look good, and in the developer's hands that originally made it, it should be good. But I don't want to see a Hellblade sequel. I'd like to see something new. I don't know.
Wait. Hellblade Senua's Wrath? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the original Hellblade. They're making.
Watch your mouth.
What? No. What am I? What do you mean? I didn't say it wasn't amazing. I'm saying I don't need to see a sequel. Like it's.
What do you mean? We need a sequel. That game was amazing.
Like the story for me, it wrapped up, and with the same character being involved in this game, I don't see a reason for that, because I felt like the character's arc, the understanding of we're getting into Senua's Wrath story now, but just the way it wrapped up, it ended on a note that didn't need to be continued. But that's just
that
me.
is correct. You're right. I mean, you're right. It would be good by itself, but it's amazing.
And Dev Monty brings up a point that the PlayStation first-party games are starting to come out on PC now as well, on their own, as well as
yeah, you tell them. Yeah.
as well as like PlayStation Now, you can use on PC and play whatever first-party games you want. So we're going to exclude the PC factor because Xbox has the same thing as well.
Sudden. Yeah, okay.
What do you mean? But back
I know if I would have said Cuphead, you would have said, "Oh, but it's on PC too. You don't need an Xbox to play that."
It's on Switch. It's on Switch too. Also.
Oh, that's funny.
The difference in that regard is that, like,
what about Ori and the Blind Forest?
That's on Switch as well.
So I think it's interesting because the point that everybody's bringing up, right? Even though GnarBlast is over here
he's being a troll right
and
now,
having a good time.
But yeah,
but he has a very valid point. He really does. So I feel like the PlayStation 5 is really going to be suited for Xbox, and the PlayStation 5 are going to be suited for early adopters, right? They're always going to get the new with the new. But if we don't talk about the early adopters, and we're talking about just the regular people, who are streaming all day, trying to save up money to buy themselves new equipment. I'm not saying that's us, but it might be us, right? What would be the reason for us to purchase something like that? Well, if the PS5 is coming out right? Or the Xbox Series X is coming out, and we are a streamer who has like an original PS4 from 2013, an Xbox that is the Halo Special Edition Xbox, then it would make sense for us to upgrade the hardware because we would still get the backwards compatibility to continue playing the games that we're playing now. It just would be played at better frame rates, lower loading times, things of that nature, right? So if we're just looking at it from its processing power and how it affects the overall ecosystem, then yeah, it makes a lot of sense for the upgrade, especially if you haven't gotten new hardware in years. But I don't know. I don't know if it would be good for someone who has a PlayStation the Pro to upgrade year one, or for what's the most advanced Xbox that's out right now?
The Xbox One X.
So I don't know if it would behoove anyone with an Xbox One X
Behoove.
to get the new Series X year one.
So that's the conversation I was trying to have before Ryan wanted to troll us a little bit.
He had a point though.
But yeah, he has a good point. But the difference the difference between the two is that PlayStation 5 games are going to be exclusive to PlayStation 5.
For what, like a year? Who cares?
A year, yes.
Honestly.
Like a year, 2 years. They will end up on PC eventually, but they're going to be on PlayStation 5. Xbox Series X games, like Halo Infinite, as I was bringing up, is going to be playable on PC as well as the Xbox One X or any Xbox One. So that's the thing, is you won't need to upgrade. If you want, and I was going to get into, this is a good segue to the next point, is like the free...
Yeah, so Microsoft is catering to players.
Yes.
Not just the new technology.
Yes, which is why I said it was a mistake and a not mistake at the same time, because...
Yeah,
I
think it's better because it actually shows that they care about the players, not just the games, how much they can make by selling a new console.
Yes.
But at the same time, though, Microsoft does own Windows 10, because you're speaking specifically about Windows 10 PCs, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, Microsoft is like, yo, we're still making money, and probably not as much because you're not buying the hardware, but I'm pretty sure they get something when somebody uses the software on their platform, because you have to purchase a Windows 10 PC to play the game.
And
right?
that really is Microsoft's mentality as a whole, especially with Windows, because like Windows you can use for free. Like it'll show a little watermark in the bottom saying activate it, but you will get all the features of like Windows 10, and you would never have to upgrade. Or you can just rip off a copy online for $20 if you want to pay for it, or just find a free copy of the code. And then Microsoft doesn't care because now they're really focused on pushing.
Yeah, they have you.
Yeah, they already have you. They can advertise to you. Like I can't show you right now, but like if you open up like the Windows bar, you just see ads for different apps, different things. So they're already making money off stuff like that. So
don't they run the gaming? Don't they run the gaming division like at a loss?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, so like they don't. I don't even think they care about the new console. I think they might have just felt forced to have something new after 6 years, and they made something. But they don't really care as long as you're running a Windows machine. It doesn't matter to them. The gaming is a loss for them as a company. They don't want you to buy the computer.
Yeah. But yeah, that gets into the point of why would you upgrade, and there's 3 factors to that. I think, moving forward. Technologies that you're not going to get in these previous consoles, and for most PC owners, they're not going to have, because you would have to have the top of the line stuff. And that's going to be ray tracing technology, spatial audio, and what was the other thing? Because I forgot my notes. 1 second. And the load times versus like traditional consoles right now using standard hard drives. The load times with these SSDs are going to blow those out of the water.
Yeah, almost instant.
Yeah. And that's the strongest point of PlayStation, is they're building their own like solid state drive essentially into the PlayStation 5, which is going to be faster than even like most consumer hardware, almost twice as fast as any consumer SSD drive you can get off the market right now, NVMe, which is the fastest right now. I just went and bought a new one. It tops out at about 3 gigs a second. And these, let me see if I can, where did I put that PlayStation thing?
Yeah, I think they're looking at
that mixer money's coming in, huh?
No, that's my actual real world job. And the PlayStation 5 is going to be topping out at 5.5,
yeah,
which is already faster than like what I just built. And then the technology for these graphics and CPUs. CPUs, basically what's out now. It's a Ryzen 7 essentially, and then fused to their GPU, which is going to be for PlayStation 10.3 teraflops and Xbox 12, which are better than any like
12.
average computer like mine. If I was going to look at the teraflops of the graphics, it's at like 7, 8 right now. So you're going to get that graphical improvement. Mm-hmm. And then ray tracing, which I feel like, along with audio, we'll get into it in a second. Ray tracing is going to be the future of gaming, like lighting and technology. So we got Minecraft right here. I'm throwing up a Minecraft video, and this is coming out with ray tracing in a little bit. Let me slow this down. So
Isn't that whole game in pixels?
What's
What
that?
does it matter?
Well,
Isn't Minecraft all like in pixels?
Exactly. So this is a perfect example, and there's even like a Quake demo that they did with ray tracing. So here's what Minecraft looks like normally when you play it. When you boot it up right now, this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
It's
pixelated.
really saturated, pixelated. Now you take those same like little up-res textures, but you change the lighting, and it looks like a completely different world that you're playing in. Same area, same location, but that lighting difference makes all the difference. Just like being able to see shadows represented properly. Let me see. Let me play this now. This is where gaming's moving to now, because along with frame rate, which is Xbox's main focus from what they say, frame rate and lighting are going to make that realism of games just like take another step and another level into the future.
I just sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Wait, you what?
I just realized you're actually streaming and you have visual. I had no idea. I'm like, oh, okay, get it.
I'm imagining it right now. That's right over there. But yeah, I have visual. I thought you realized. What do you think? Who do you think we were talking to in the chat? Just like yelling at random people. But yeah, just like the graphical fidelity that can be achieved, but just by changing how lighting behaves in a game level is.
Oh yeah, so I'm looking at it. It just makes it darker.
Oh my god.
What?
You get more accurate reflections, shadows. Yes, it'll make it somewhat darker in areas, but that makes the light that much more powerful and on what it's focused on. But yeah, and that's going to be on both consoles. So that's something most gamers don't have access to, and even with my graphics card, which is an RTX card, a ray tracing technology card, it's running at about like 60 frames on basic stuff like this, with like everything cranked up, reflections, like specific lighting, the way the sun, like each light is mapped the way it should be behaving in real life. So for stuff like this, when you put every single ounce of RTX into something, it's like hardware intensive to the nth degree. So moving forward with these new consoles, it's going to change how people see games, play games. That, along with the spatial audio, which we were talking about, Hellblade used a lot of, just like with the voices talking behind you, in front of you, and you can hear it with headphones. That's something that games want to take advantage of moving forward. And PlayStation, that's one of their major focuses is 3D audio and how that's going to affect game worlds and game sound. Let me see if I can find that part of the video. But yeah, they're putting like so much effort into it. They both have like audio chips on the systems, but I feel like PlayStation's going to take it to another level in terms of how they want audio to be represented to you in your headphones and how it plays to the acoustics of your ear and stuff like that. There's a lot of good information in this video, although it almost put me to sleep while I was at work. But where's that one where it's like just reflecting audio everywhere?
But you could expect that to be really utilized maybe a year after stuff, right?
Yeah, of course. This first year is going to be just like the first implementations of it. But as like the consoles mature and developers mature with the technology, it's going to definitely get so much better.
It'll get better. But as of right now, like, we're
So
still
you don't
in the
think it's a
same
gimmick?
spot.
No, of course not.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely not.
I don't know. I watched Saw 3D. It looked pretty gimmicky to me.
3D movie. But did you play a 3D game? Did you play Tetris Effect in VR?
I have, and it's actually super fun. It's kind of creepy fun.
Creepy fun.
So
Well, it's weird because you're like in the space. It's hard to
Yeah,
explain.
yeah.
It's cool.
So they need to do something more, right? Because they're getting to a point where there is a limit to graphic fidelity, right? We're gonna hit a wall. The graphical improvements.
I mean, the human eye has a wall, so you can go wherever, but if your eye can't process it doesn't matter.
It's only going to go so far. Only going to go so far. But the reason why I bring that up is because the leap in graphical fidelity between console generations is getting smaller. So when we went from Nintendo to Super Nintendo, that was huge. Super Nintendo to Nintendo 64, that was pretty big.
It's really the perceptible difference. Sorry to cut you off just real quick. Just like the perceptible difference of change is harder to see now.
Exactly. Right. It's starting to get small. Right. PlayStation 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Now going from 3 to 4, it was a lot smaller until you start looking at late game PS3 games to, late in console generation PS4 titles. Now you see a big difference. But before, when it first started, like year one, it wasn't a huge difference. So there has to be something else that is going to happen, some other way to add to it. And I think sound is probably one of the best things that you can do to increase immersion into a video game. So just to take it back to a system that we all know and love, the Super Nintendo, there's a game on there that I think is one of the best games.
Genesis is better.
Oh my god! I
didn't know we were talking to Jamal.
But one of the best games, probably one of the best games made of all time, right? Super Metroid. And the reason why Super Metroid is so phenomenal is not only because of the way it looks, because of its gameplay, things of that nature, but it's also because of the sound design. The sound was a huge part of creating the world. And I think that's what's going to have to be leaned into heavily with these new consoles that are coming out, because the graphics is hitting a wall. It's only going to go so far, unless it starts looking like us. They start making consoles that do deep fake. You know what I mean? But until we get to that point, it's going to have to be something else. So spatial awareness and the manipulation of sound to create version in conjunction with graphics.
So to that point, are they effectively forcing everybody to use headphones?
Well, in PlayStation's case, they definitely like.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah.
Are they selling you a console and you also have to buy headphones? Like,
My headphones don't come in the box.
I mean, but to be fair, like the headphone argument, they have always suggested that some games have been better with headphones on for a long time, doing PC-based games, right? And there's a difference between stereo audio and then 7.1 surround sound, right? So I think they're just capitalizing more on that, because nowadays most people have headphones, stereo systems. That's like, I believe it's more commonplace now than it used to be. So,
but their
they have to do
emphasis,
something.
well, in the PlayStation like presentation that they put on, they made sure to emphasize that they were testing like every possible way you can listen to something and making sure they are as close to each other as possible. So you could have like your Dolby Atmos, which is like the highest of the high-end speaker system, to your 2.1 or your headphones or whatever, and they want to make sure that they do their best to get that experience, whatever experience they're creating, and make sure it's the same or as close to the same as possible across everything.
When you say the same, I assume they mean in terms of same quality and effort that goes into creating the
Yes, like
ambiance.
yeah,
Right, right.
yeah,
Okay, I get what you're saying. But there's going to be a difference because there is.
of course.
I
yeah.
never thought there was, but there is a difference with playing something on TV speakers versus headphones.
No,
And
that's
then
the
there's
same.
right, and then there's a difference between playing on regular headphones, noise canceling headphones, or 7.1 stereo surround sound headphones. Like there's a big difference. Big difference.
Again,
So you're saying my earbuds won't work?
no, sorry. You're
It'll be okay. It'll be okay.
your Panasonic gummies for $10 at the gas station will not be very useful here. But yeah, that of course
So-
goes more into what we were saying earlier is like first investors, money, having money to be able to spend on all these things to get the
Yeah.
most of your experience. It does factor into the first adopters and the people who can really sling the bills around, to to say the least.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, so for someone like me, and I was being very specific when talking about, a growing stream that has to be smart with its money. But because, like I said, I haven't gotten new hardware. I don't have a PlayStation Pro. I'm still using 2013 tech. So for someone like me, jumping to a PlayStation 5 makes sense. Makes sense, especially if the games that I want to play fall into that list of backwards compatible titles. But I feel like that's why Xbox, because I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I could play a game on my PC, but I really can't. It's cheaper for me to just get an Xbox Series X rather than getting a 60. So for someone like me, I'm looking at both the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 as hardware upgrades. So it makes sense to me because of backwards compatibility.
Gotcha.
All right, so I do have a question like regarding the specs. Is this the first console generation that actually might be ahead of the current PC builds?
Well, as of right now, they're going to be ahead.
Because usually everything's like,
Yes.
because everything gets developed. So usually they
Because just
by their own
the
technology.
just the way that these systems are made now, they're basically PCs. You're getting a PC with a game console skin on it and a user interface specific to whichever brand you get. They're the exact same hardware. They're just tweaked and changed and grafted on options and settings, just depending on what they want to do with the hardware they have. If you're saying right now, like I would say it's like high, graphics wise, high end machine, but new graphics cards are coming out this summer. They're going to blow whatever's in these consoles out of the water as soon as they're on the market. And there's already like some that do. They're just like thousands of dollars. What does this
So
say?
I think to answer the question, though, you have to be very specific about the performance that you're getting at the price point that they're asking for.
Yeah, it's a
Puts
give
them
and take.
ahead right
For
now.
sure.
Yeah, that's
right
going to be
now.
so important. Whatever price these come out at is going to determine who's probably going to win out in the end. Because
Which we talked about that before. That's so stupid. The Xbox quote lost. They had a better opening bundle. Yeah, whatever.
yeah, you had to buy everything up front in one box, but they lost because they included the camera and PlayStation did not.
Yeah. It's perception.
King Celeste X, I don't know. In my chat, I was looking to shop online some gaming gear, but I got injured, so spent all my money on knee gear. Sorry to hear that. That's unfortunately life. The way it is, no money to buy to work on your knee. I know. I just felt like changing up the conversation here really quick. But money is, I mean, we're on the topic of money, factor of money.
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost, and who's going to be cheaper? I think.
Right.
I got 5 on it.
Hey, well, we got that stimulus package money that's about to drop, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's $600 per person. At last I heard, it went down from $2,000 to $600.
Yeah, I thought it was a couple grand. Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's all a farce. But whatever. That's talk for.
But yeah, from what I'm seeing in PlayStation with the storage capacity, now on both sides, Xbox does it again. They have to make the proprietary storage device that's going to be more expensive than if you just let us use any hard drive you can or solid state drive you can buy on the market, which is always frustrating. That's going to hurt them in that regard, but they always do that. They have a premium on their proprietary software with controllers, memory cards, stuff like that. PlayStation, on the other hand, will allow you to use off-the-shelf solid-state drives. The issue is they have to have like compatibility across all the features of the PlayStation. So right now, no, there aren't any solid-state drives right now that you can buy.
They qualify.
Would qualify, yeah. Because they want them to have that same speed that's built into the system. But with that like unique like storage device, I'm curious. I think the way it's set up, PlayStation 5 might be the more expensive one, unless they want to lose like a ton of money off the bat. I thought before these specs came out, I thought they'd be at 500 each. I'm thinking I could see 600 at launch, honestly.
Yes, 6 and then 5 around Christmas.
Yeah. But we're just gonna have to wait and see once more information comes out. What happens with digital E3 whenever that happens? I'm sure we're definitely gonna get a price for Xbox, and we'll see about PlayStation.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting
There's
for sure.
so much that goes into it. We're talking about price point proposition.
But that's such a big factor on, like we were just talking about what Ryan mentioned, on who is going to get those initial sales and who's going to build a base that everybody migrates to. Because Xbox 360, hands down, had that generation over the PlayStation 3.
Absolutely.
But then bad press, like forced bundles, really painted people, Xbox in the bad light, and then people went over to PlayStation. And the PlayStation 4 has had the market share all throughout the generation. I don't think they lost a month unless they just didn't have a game coming out. And then when they lost, it was to like the Switch, and that's because people were just like buying them like hotcakes.
Right.
Please don't ever use that phrase again.
What, you don't like pancakes?
I like pancakes. Don't call them a hotcake.
You know what? I can mute you right now, Ryan. But yeah, so say
75-year-old lady over.
Say these are both $600. Come November, right. If they both release in November, I can see PlayStation possibly coming out early next year as well. Which one are you buying? Are you going to eventually get both? Are you going to wait a year and see if the price goes down? What are you guys going to do?
Yeah, Ryan, what are you going to do first, bro?
I'm going to buy another Nintendo. Go backwards. No, I'm probably going to, Microsoft got me with the Xbox 360. You know, I have way more in kind of invested into that than I do the PlayStation. PlayStation I have for just weird like little indie games or whatever. Like honestly, like it's weird talking to you guys about big AAA games, like all these exclusives. Like I could care less about all of them.
Yeah.
I don't really care. So it's like my particular focus in gaming has no impact on what console I buy because the games I like are probably going to be on both the Xbox.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. So I'm probably going to get the Xbox, not at launch, but I do like if they keep that design of like a giant cube looking thing, I think it looks kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm honestly didn't like the design, but it's going to grow on me for sure. Chad, feel free to let us know.
Well, see, so I like it because the other consoles have a wide base to it. Like,
yeah.
Like for space, for me, I'd rather build up. You know, so
true.
Like a Tokyo Tower.
Just buy some shelves and throw a console on each shelf. But Chat, let us know what you're going to get. I give you money.
2 months.
I got Chin. What's up in the chat? He says he's team early Xbox. I can see that.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't. Angel. What are you doing? You're not going to have the exclusives that you have on PlayStation, on Xbox. Right. but it kind of leans towards like that full upgrade. It's going to probably come out first, and I don't know. What are your thoughts?
So in the position that I am, and because I stream so often, I'm looking at the PS5 more as an upgrade, as a hardware upgrade, because of the majority
not a
of
new console, just
yeah,
something to get you up to speed.
that's
Okay.
correct. So I'm looking at more as a hardware upgrade rather than getting the console. So when I look at it that way, then the cost investment makes sense, especially since the majority of what I've been playing and what I'm streaming is PlayStation or our PlayStation titles. So, but the caveat, of course, is that I was in Korea defending freedom, so all of my stuff is in storage. So that kind of throws that in, because I have more titles for the Xbox. The 360 got me as well, but everything's in storage. So I've just been playing a lot of PlayStation 4. But to answer the question simply, the PlayStation 5 is what I'm going to get first, and I'm getting it first because it's a significant hardware upgrade for the ecosystem I've already created with the PlayStation 4, and that's why I'm going to go with them.
There you go. I'm going to get both. No, I'm kidding. I mean, yeah, I'll eventually get both. As for buying them at launch, I'm going to get probably the PlayStation at launch, because I can, for the first time ever. But yeah, Chin, like I was saying earlier, any game that comes out on Xbox, it'll be on the PC day one with Game Pass. And I definitely don't want to buy a new Halo until I play it, because I've been so disappointed with 4 and 5.
4 was trash. I'm sorry. I'm not a big super fan, but yeah.
No, it was bad. I lost the control at you.
Yeah, Angel smashed the whole controller playing Halo 4, so he knows all about how trash Halo 4 is. But I'll still be around to play any game that has crossplay, and moving forward, hopefully crossplay is more implemented. Call of Duty has done it, so Call of Duty can do it. I mean, they have the infrastructure, but any game should be able to do it moving forward. But PlayStation, it also depends on the games, but I would want to take advantage of like whatever trade-in bonus the PlayStation 5 would have, because the PlayStation 4 is going to be the most valuable console to trade in at a GameStop, if GameStop's still around. By then, we'll see. But you're always going to get more for money for PlayStations and Nintendo consoles than you would for any Xbox. So that factors into what I want. What my plan was originally when I got a PlayStation 4 was to play all the PlayStation 4 games and then just trade up to the PlayStation 5 and do that. As for Xbox, I'll get it, but I'm going to have to wait for a price cut. Especially, well, I'll see the price. It's got to be $500 if I want to buy it. If it's above $500, I'm going to wait until maybe next year. But we'll see. It's all about we'll see. Debmoney's getting both. Also, got the money to throw around. He's already got that primo PC. He just needs the slightly behind consoles.
Nice. That's what's up.
Oh, you're in the queue? All right, well, let's hear Devmani out a little bit. By the way, Chin, if you want to hop in, talk about your Xbox decisions.
Actually, I have a real question.
What's up?
What's the media? Is it going to be on CDs, or is it going to be only download stuff from consoles?
And
I honestly don't know.
They're both going to be Blu-ray drive or Ultra Blu-ray drives, and and digital, of course.
I fully expect this to be one of the last generation with physical.
I would hope not, but I can see it as well, unfortunately.
I think it's going to be if it's either going to be this is going to be the last generation with physical, but if they get a lot of pushback, then this will be the last generation with optical discs, because it's easier for them to.
Well, Microsoft tried that with that. What's one of the consoles has its own disc drive? It's only optical. It's only digital.
Microsoft did the Xbox without a drive recently.
Yeah.
It was too early. It's too early because there's still old heads like myself who are still in the system. So the issue with physical media is you still like
how many games in the past 10 years have they just disappear because of licensing issues or whatever, and all of a sudden you can't play the game anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it's like, what, I spent my money on this thing, like, now I don't have access to it because you decided to just take it off your store.
Mhm.
Like, it's kind of, that's a big conversation for, but yeah, it's like stuff like that. It's like, I think that's where the big pushback's going to be, is just the fact that the games can literally disappear from day to day.
See, there hasn't been that many games that have disappeared. If you don't own the license beforehand, it was removed from the store. You can't get it anymore. If you own the license, you could usually continue to download it. The only game that really stands out that had that happen was the PT with Konami, where they, regardless, they yanked it. Yeah, if you deleted it, it was gone. But
no, all the Midway games on the 360 are gone. You can't get those back anymore, not even through online. They're all gone.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to investigate that.
That Scott Pilgrim versus the World is gone. You can't get that anymore. DuckTales Remastered's coming back, but it's been gone for a while. It's setting up the scalpers to sell the Wii U version of that. All the disc versions all like skyrocketed in price for like 3 days.
But the thing is, if you had it still on your system, for Xbox wise, I know for a fact for the majority of those, if you still had it, like if you had the license, you would be able to download them. It'd be really like annoying because the way to download games that have been wiped from the store is you have to go through like your old download history on like the Xbox.com page or something. It's really stupid.
Gross.
And it looks disgusting for sure. But Devmani's jumped in. Hello.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as PS5, Xbox Series X, this is probably the first. Well, I wouldn't say the first generation. I won't be buying them either on launch day. I usually try to have like a 5-game minimum, and we've yet to see anything that reaches that. Yeah. So I'm like, there's got to be 5 games on either console before I buy it. There's, Last of Us 2 looks great, Halo Infinite looks great, and that's all we have. And then the rest is multi-platform titles, which I can play on my PC. So that's kind of what's holding me back from buying either of them as a day one purchase. And then there was the question about are the consoles stronger than PCs right now, the new generation? No, not at all.
If you're talking about like an average computer, like you look at like the average on Steam, then these consoles
are not those like $3,000 rigs, something that's like a few $100.
Well, no, like no. I'm talking about like the mid-range. It's comparable to a mid-range computer for sure, if not better at this point. But
sure,
yeah.
I mean, even Sony's hard drive, it's the fastest on the market, but it's also the smallest.
Yeah,
because it's only like 856 gigabytes. A 1 terabyte M2 drive, I think Crucial makes it, is almost as fast as the Sony hard drive, but it's a terabyte, so it's larger, so it's slightly smaller. So that's how Sony was able to increase the read-write speed, is because they shrunk the amount of storage space.
Yes.
So, I mean, they traded some stuff off. So it's kind of like, if you balance it out, it's running just as fast as any, M2 drive you could get that's high end, right? You're spending $300-$400 for it.
That's a point there. So you're using the term balance. And what I was thinking as I was looking at the specs is that all of these are optimized. They're very specific optimizations to do something for that one specific console.
Yeah, they have a goal in
Since
mind.
they're controlling everything, then it allows them to do more with whatever specifications they have, which makes it easier for them to perform better than some PCs that might be out there that are bogged down with, you know what I'm saying? Like drives that are generalized to work on, with different programs.
Sure.
I think that's where the
just
benefit
general like user setup and user error.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But you that's a good observation, Angel, is that like these are designed, especially that like SSD in the PlayStation, it's custom, it's completely custom. So it's designed to be as fast as possible for them.
Right. And right now you can only break the 4 gigabit barrier using Zen 2 processors. So AMD processors is where it's at if you want to break 4 gigabits in read-write speeds.
Damn, that's wild.
So general computer market, the manufacturers aren't building a ton of these type of hard drives because it's split between Intel and AMD.
Yep.
Now, if Intel can break that barrier as well with their new chipsets, I think we'll see a ton of drives come out that are going to be 5 and 6 gigabits, per second transfer rates. Mm-hmm. So Sony's talking point right now is a flash in the pan, because in a year we'll be like, well, everyone can do that, so it's not really that special. Like, what's next? So back to what Eric was saying, pretty much everyone's been saying, these are just glorified PCs now. These are PCs for the console generation. These are PCs that you don't want to have word processing software and things like that on it. This is for the groups that are, I guess, scared of PC usage. They want a very curated experience, which is what a console is. It's a sandbox. There's very defined boundaries inside that box of what you can and can't do.
Preach, brother, preach.
I forgot. I kind of got distracted by the chat. Someone said hello, hi. But
stay focused.
No, DevMonty made a good point, and I wanted to build off that, but I forgot what he said exactly.
Yeah,
he said that I was right.
Oh no, the fact that faster drives would be coming out or that'll be utilized by PCs. It plays into Sony's favor when it comes to like upgrading their storage system, because you can use those off-the-shelf drives if they qualify for however Sony has their system set up, and then just instantly get even faster speeds just by plugging in something new. On the Xbox, you're not going to be able to do that because it's a proprietary memory card, essentially, that they're using. And I just dropped something. Oops.
And then to circle back on physical media versus digital, what do you guys think? I mean, now that we're in the grips of a pandemic and stores are closing, do you feel that's going to push digital media harder than physical media? Because with GameStop's closing and curbside delivery and everything else, there isn't the experience of walking into a store. This could dramatically change the landscape in a lot of respects. Right now we're seeing that, like, well, internet isn't a privilege, it's almost a human right. Like, we'll need this now, if these things sort of happen.
It's a utility now.
Utility. So now internet's available, and now you can do downloads. Like, everyone will have that in their house. Mm-hmm. I was talking with a group of friends. I'm like, I feel the next step is that, Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo or whoever wants, there needs to be this alliance to where I can hook up a NAS drive, and for people that don't know, NAS storage, that's, network attached storage. I should be able to hook that up to my consoles and then archive all of my games, my titles, right? Mm-hmm. I can just put them all into an archival system, so they're mine forever. It's my backup of that. I'll never have to download it again. Me and my friends spent like 20 minutes trying to hash this out, and it's crazy because then you have things about, well, what about updates and things like that, and internet speeds, but those are all variables. But I feel that there should be some sort of alliance between these companies to where, yes, I could do JBOD, just a bunch of disks, in a NAS storage unit, hook those up to my console and say, archive all these titles, and then so I can remove them off of my console and play new games, because that's the biggest problem with digital, right? It's like, there's a limit to how much media you can store. But I feel that's like that's where we have to go next, right? So people are saying, you're safe to say you own your title, like, you have it, you have to back it up. That's your responsibility. You own it digitally. You'll never lose that as long as you have that digital backup. And then you can still keep space on your consoles.
So here's my thoughts, right? So I'm going to say something and then I'm going to punt it. So first off, I want to say thank you very much, Kino Fury, for subscribing. I appreciate you. Yo, love you much. And I think someone who would be good to talk on that right now, and I'm very interested to hear his perspective, would be GnarBlast. Because GnarBlast is a collector. He has a huge collection of Nintendo games. So I'm curious from his perspective, as someone who has a lot of physical copies of games, how does he feel about the landscape changing to being like digital only?
He's mad. No, I don't know. Ryan, where are you?
Oh man, I guess he got booted, huh?
No, he's still here. He might be muted, Ryan.
Oh.
There you go.
No, something happened to I got disconnected from the chat, so I just came back.
Okay. Did you hear the question?
Did you hear the
did
question? So the reason why I'm punting this to you, because I want to hear your perspective before I talk on it, right? And we're talking about the industry making a shift to being fully digital. And I know you have a huge collection of older titles, specifically Nintendo games. So I'm curious, how do you feel as a gamer who consumes a lot of video games with this big push to being all digital? Is it an issue? Does it concern you? Are you good with it? Do you welcome it? How do you feel?
I mean, it's not like I don't buy digital games, so it's like I can't say like, oh, I only buy physical. Then all of a sudden I have, 300 games on my hard drives, and I'm a hypocrite. But it's like, it's like for me, I like being able to hold something in my hand. I guess that's like an old thing for me, like as a little kid. Like you just like holding something in your hand, like this. I can do something with this,
Right.
Like, it's cool to see like a giant list of games, but like in my opinion, I mean, you mentioned the NES collection. I think it's kind of cool just to have a wall of games. I think it looks neat. So, and I mean specifically with the NES, it's more.
It's more what? I think we lost him again. But to just play off what Ryan was saying until we get him back. And as what Kano Fury is saying now in the chat, it's a major concern for me in terms of going all digital. Oh, he's back. Okay. What were you saying?
No, again, my concern with the digital only stuff is when games disappear, or even games so with the Midway stuff that is off the Xbox store. The only way you can play like Mortal Kombat 3 on the Xbox 360 now is, I don't even know how. Is there a disc you can buy? I don't think there is one. Like unless you have bought it 15 years ago, you can't play that game anymore.
Right.
And, like there's a lot of games that are like that it's not even really like because of even Microsoft. It's just licensing agreements. Sometimes things just fall, they fall through the cracks. Things don't get renewed.
Right.
And then you end up getting punished for like, oh, there was this game that was out for like 3 weeks. Now I can't play it anymore. Or like, oh, I can get that later. Then later comes, oh, it's not in the store anymore. I can't get it. Like,
right. I mean, but how do you feel with our current situation in the world? Like, so with this pandemic, and we're all, shelter in place and having to be home, and you can't get to a store anymore. And getting physical media is a little more difficult. Amazon isn't shipping things as soon as they used to. Sure, we can just be patient and wait, but do you feel that's going to push more of digital media? Movie theaters, or I should say movie production companies, are now releasing films digitally. Yeah. Of course, my dog grabs a toy right when my mic is open.
I was just about to mention that, actually. What? Go ahead, Angel.
If I can jump in on this one, because this just happened to me, as a matter of fact. So I had ordered Doom Eternal, a physical copy, through Amazon, and it was scheduled to get here until Corona got super huge, and then Amazon shut down non-essential shipments of things. So now they're only shipping the essential items like toilet paper, because that's a very important thing to have to combat a respiratory virus. but I think that's a perfect example of what Devmani is talking about. So at that point, I made the shift to cancel the physical order, and then I purchased the game digitally, right? So for me, the circumstance was that I needed to have it for my show. I needed to play it to provide it for my people, right? I needed to have quality content. So what I believe is going to happen is going to take 1 to 2 generations of gamers, and everything is going to be 100% digital. And the reason why I say that it's going to be a generational thing is that because as long as that there are still people like myself who grew up during a time where copies were a thing. Well, actually, now that I say that, it's probably going to be 2 to 3 generations. But as long as there were people like myself, dinosaurs who enjoyed having the physical copy, who enjoy seeing the physical copy on their shelf, having something that makes them feel comfortable and that also gets into the whole ownership thing, then it's going to be very difficult to go fully digital. Now,
Don't make it sound like you're the old person in here.
right, but I'm just throwing it on myself to give bearing and context. But if they did do something like Devmani had talked about, allowing you to download a copy of this game that you purchased, right, and you owned and had that copy of the game, which would then take care of the whole ownership portion of it, and you were able to store said game on something, then it would make people feel more comfortable about owning things digitally. Now, I'm going to give an example. We could probably debate the legalities of this a little bit later, but
No, we're doing it
people
now.
out there who have ROMs, right? They use emulators and they have ROMs of specific video games. I think that the prevalence of ROMs already validates the concerns that we may have about going digital about games now, this generation of games. So if there's anyone out there who plays ROMs and emulations of titles from Nintendo, Genesis, Super Nintendo, and so on and so forth, then I think we've already proved the validity of going full digital and it being successful, because it covers ownership, it covers space. But I think in order for it to be fully mainstream, it'll take 2 to 3 generations.
I disagree in that the eventual 100% digital will happen, because as Ivmani pointed out, or he mentioned, movie production companies sending out movies digitally, and that shift to like distribution of movies at theaters, making that all digital. Movies are still physically shot on film. It just depends on who's making them. So I think moving forward, the ratio of fully digital games will increase. Yeah, you will only be able to get them digitally in some form or fashion. But it comes down to the company, the publishers, and who's willing to still make those physical games. Because there is a market for it. There's digital run games that people are not, limited run games that people will go out and buy just to have that physical copy of like PlayStation 4 games that are digital only and stuff like that. So the market's always going to be there. There's always going to be people that are old school, even no matter how old they are. And so it's just going to be a smaller proportionate part of those game releases. But in terms of like going all digital, I'm concerned in the fact that, as what Kano Fury said, is like the way like an Activision or Bethesda or these larger publishers and game makers, they write in, like when you start those games, you have to accept those terms and conditions. It's written in there that they can take the game away, they can turn it off.
Yeah, whenever they want.
Yeah, whenever they want. And this happened to a degree with these with Ultraviolet, I believe. It was a digital movie service where people had stores of movies built up. And then last year they're just like, well, we're going to shut down, guys. So we don't really have anything to do with your movies. It's up to you what happens, but that they're gone. And
because they shut down the servers.
Transfer.
All they had to do is shut down the servers and everything disappeared.
Yeah, so you had to
But
transfer
I think
them.
transferred
Yeah.
to like Apple. Like if you had to set up an Apple account, then you owned them all on Apple's service.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah.
Too much trouble.
Though. I mean, whether it's the most elegant solution, but I love movies anywhere. Like whenever I buy a physical copy, I buy it to make sure that there's like the digital movies anywhere thing, and I may never watch the physical copy anymore. I just watch the digital copy.
Mm-hmm.
Either on my computer or on my iPad, or I cast it to my Chromecast or something, to my TV. I'm like, I don't even have to use a physical drive. This is great. It's just more convenient. And then when I travel, it's at my fingertips.
Yeah.
It's at your fingertips until they decide it's not anymore.
That's
So
why
I mean, I still have the physical copy as well, but I'm just saying I don't use my physical copy.
I think it's a combination.
But you mentioned traveling, so you travel with all your movies, all your discs. Like,
I know. I mean, at that point, I'd rip them and then just travel with them digitally again anyway.
Yeah.
That's why I think ROMs are
yeah.
the best validator for the conversation that we're having, because ROMs are something that's not actively stored or not easily accessible on some big site. You know what I mean?
well, not anymore.
Yeah.
Nintendo took care of that.
Right?
Well, there
But
is an
that's-
importance to being digital, like especially with older media, because stuff does
Well,
wear down.
preservation is good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like historically, you want to be able to have a backup of everything, but
Right.
when you're buying something on Xbox, you can't back up that game with those files. When you're playing a Destiny, the original version of the game when it first came out is not accessible to anybody anymore because it's changed so much.
Right.
It's really a hard conversation to have because I don't know. It's never something that's going to have an easy fix. It's never going to be possible to just go all digital. Like I showed these game cases a second ago on my feed, and I have Animal Crossing. I made sure to get it physical. This isn't the Animal Crossing game. It's in my Switch right now. But this came with a physical cart case. Here's Doom Eternal, physical case, no disc. It's a piece of paper with a code on it. But in the end, I still have something. I paid the same amount as someone who bought it. Actually, I paid less, but we're gonna talk about that later. I paid less than someone who bought it digitally, but I have a package. I have something that I can at least, if the game for some reason was to just be wiped from every server in the world, I have a case to say I played this game, I owned it, and I can look at it and maybe never touch it again, but still say, hey, it's right there, and that's perfectly fine with me moving forward, as long as I have something to represent my ownership.
I really feel like the solution is going to be too, and it's going to require. I think Dev Monty kind of put a bow on what's going to be necessary. Is that the companies are going to have to come together and allow you the ability to be able to purchase
And back up your own games.
the property, right, and then being able to back up the game. If they were able to do that to where I paid, PlayStation for Horizon Zero Dawn, I bought it for them. I gave them the money. And then I was able to download it and store that on my own storage. So I had a copy of it in one of my multiple hard drives. Plus, Sony had a version of it on their server for me to be able to access. Then that would be the best solution to push the all digital revolution that is absolutely coming. It's absolutely coming. I see it coming. And I fully expect it to be normalized within the next few generations. But as long as they keep pushing this live service crap, this whole Destiny, this whole Fortnite, and where you don't actually own a thing, the company owns the IP, the company controls the IP. If that continues to grow, then the digital revolution won't come as quickly.
Yeah, if too many people get burned by stuff like Fortnite, like if the skins disappear or whatever, if too many people get burned by it, they're going to stop supporting that model.
Yeah, I think thinking games as a service is what's going to propagate another game crash.
Well, didn't the Ouya try doing that?
The Ouya?
Yes, they
or
did.
whatever the thing's called?
Yeah.
That's obviously very relevant
not
now.
good. So I think that's good. So I like the digital aspect because as I did the whole PlayStation Now, I was messing around with that, and that's how I got to play Doom 2016, and there was something else, the original God of War PlayStation 2. I got to play on the digital service, which was great. Having the digital thing is great because you are able to access it from anywhere and whatnot. But in order for this to really be able to function and be successful, you have to be able to download it and keep a copy of this game that you purchase, which is very difficult because they want your money.
I'm going to take a time out here. Say thank you for Angel to Blue L Cheese for being subscribed to Twitch Prime for 16 months. And we got Fuzzy Butt Gaming on the Twitch side. Back to our original topic before we got off on this tangent. He says he'd say PC by a mile, but guess PS5 because he's a Sony person. But yeah, back to where. And then we were talking about, Devmani brought up just essentially the convenience of being digital, and especially in a time like this where it's hard to go to the store and it's hard to go and get a physical copy of something. It's hard to get food. We're gonna digitally deliver that, but
they need to. Star Trek, baby, go.
But in my case, again with the copies I just showed off, I went out of my way, and there are numerous people, Brian, GnarBlast included, would also go out of their way to whatever degree to get whatever copy of something they want physically, and because it just matters that much to people. Gaming makes people crazy; they'll do anything, and you get the self gratification versus the people who are willing to put in the time and effort to go get a physical copy. It's just people are on both sides, and it's always going to be that way, I think.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. I mean, there are kids like my daughter's got her first record player at 13, 14, and she's buying records.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
One of her favorite vinyl records is Thriller by Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's gonna be there. And there's something about having a cartridge too. Like, you have a Nintendo sitting on the desk. You know what I mean? And you pop it in, and you're like, oh shit, it's kind of cool. It looks like shit on your LED screen, but whatever. You get to play it, you know? But there's always going to be that. And I agree with you on that. There's always going to be people who enjoy the physical, who like the thing. And we see that with books, right? There will always be people who like to just have a book. But in terms of... Go ahead, Dev.
Like with a book, man, it's hard to curl up to a tablet. You
Yeah.
know, in bed. It's just not comfortable like a book is, right? Like you can kind of curl up with a book. No, it's as long.
Not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah, it's certainly not. I think a good transition area, because honestly, I love digital for my consoles because it's like having a jukebox, right? Like I can just stop this game, start the next game. I don't have to get up from my couch. I don't have to eject a disc and put a new disc in. It's super lazy, right?
Right.
I admit that 100%. It's the laziest way of being a lazy gamer, but I love the jukebox aspect. Now, my compromise would be that if I'm going to have physical media, let me put the physical media in and quote unquote, unlock it, right? It downloads to the console anyways.
Yep.
Every X amount of days, it should be like, hey, you got to put this disc back in to make sure you own it.
Hold on, that's a step too far. You can just put it in to download, but no key renewal thing where you have to put it in, which Xbox almost
Well,
did.
I mean, I'm just saying from a physical security
But
standpoint,
yeah.
no console is going to be like, oh, well, you've just downloaded this. Now you can go and sell the game back and you still have ownership. Like there's some way you have to keep saying you have ownership. Unless we start selling games for $5 and then they're charging us, $5 a month until we've paid off the game so we own the license. That's honestly all we're doing. We buy video games. We are buying a license to play that game. That's it.
Yes. Yeah.
Like we don't
right.
technically own that game. We're buying a license to play it.
To play it, yes.
And they're saying, well, $60 is a fair point. It's a fair price point for us to say you can own this game forever and keep playing it. Same with owning Windows or anything like that. It's like you're paying $120 for a copy of Windows 10 for the license. They gave you a disc as a backup. Like if for whatever reason you need to reload this, that's yours to do that. Mm-hmm. But they've moved away from that a lot too. I mean, they give out either thumb drives or you're downloading it. As long as you have the licensed product key in your email, you're just putting that in. So that's where we're at, right? So I'm just saying you put the disc in, it unlocks the game, then maybe 30 days, 15 days, whatever, you got to redo that if you haven't played the game recently or something, and that'll be that compromise of digital versus physical ownership.
All right.
Well, there's some good points here. Let me
Let's go to the chat really fast.
Let me just jump in. So yeah, shout out to Blue Cheese. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate that. Also, shout out to G1 Shiny King for subscribing over there, allowing Trindominus to continue to grow. Appreciate that very much. But Kane of Fury actually asked a question.
Hold on. Before we get to the GameStop thing, a fuzzy butt on my side said there's no DLC with a book in regards to reading and nuzzling up with a book. There's no DLC. But anyway, yeah, go back to Kano's question. Sorry.
So I mean, that's kind of interesting to jump into too. The DLC, the whole idea of the DLC, right? DLC is great if it is in addition to whatever I'm getting because I love what I'm consuming. But now the paradigm is shift to we're going to create something with the idea of selling them something more on top of something they've already purchased.
Yes, basically selling half a game.
Yeah, so
Right.
DLC no longer represents what it used to represent. Now there are titles out there like Horizon Zero Dawn where the DLC essentially is like another game. But that's few and far between. Most of the DLC that you get, the content that's out there to consume, is like Destiny, where you need that DLC in order to get more of the game, because that DLC should have been part of the game to begin with. And that creates some conflict now. So I don't know. I'm a little upset about DLC, but the Can of Fury, I think, asks a very specific question that I think all of us, because we've all grown up with the Funko Lands and the EB games.
Oh
and
gosh,
GameStops,
Funko
right?
Land, I miss.
So his question was very specific, which is, how do you think this would be affected if GameStop were to go out of business?
I think GameStop dying, which is why Reggie Fils-Aimé being like put on the board of directors was so important for me, because GameStop dying would probably be the end of new physical media in terms of like somewhere you can go, like a physical location you can go to. I mean, yeah, Best Buy would still have physical media, but like even with like if you go to Best Buy right now and you try to go buy a movie, it's one shelf. The Best Buy I just went to, it's one shelf behind all the gaming stuff that you wouldn't know unless you were like looking for the games, and that's the course for movies. And the same thing would happen to games if it was going to a more digital, like a Netflix type thing. Well, we got Game Pass. That's our digital Netflix for gaming. But yeah, with these big box stores are always focused on what's going to get them the most money. Like, so they don't have to carry games. GameStop has to carry physical games because that's what's keeping them in business. People being able to trade in physical copies and people being able to buy those physical copies. So GameStop dying would be like the end of a physical store for new games, unless like partnerships opened up with more smaller stores, but they definitely don't have the same footprint as a GameStop across the country, the world. So I don't know. I see that being like a real death nail for GameStop and for physical media. If we lose physicals, GameStop's dead. If GameStop dies, it's gonna affect physical media in terms of games.
I might be one of the few people who actually believe that the industry and gamers need GameStop. Right? We need.
Well, okay, hold on. So if GameStop dies because of the free market or whatever, right? Isn't the idea of the free market that something better will take its place? So it's not. I don't think it's going to die and then the game is going to disappear.
But this is America.
Something will pop up. That's the whole idea, right?
Right.
That something stronger and better will replace it. It's
so theoretically,
I mean, GameStop dies.
Something should come in. That is correct, right? Theoretically, something better should come across. But what we normally see, typically what we see is not something necessarily better that comes in. We see something that's more profitable that'll come in its place. So we see techniques that come in that are more profitable. So it's not necessarily better in terms of what's best for the industry or what's best for the people and us.
That's definitely the epitome of GameStop now, is that it's the worst of the worst in terms of trying to be profitable off of gaming.
It's profitable.
Because like I was talking about like small stores, mom and pop gaming stores. That's the evolution of something not necessarily better, but something that's looking for profit. And that's really an ideological change in terms of like economy that would have to go down for something like that to be headed in the right direction. But I don't know. That's another topic. We've been going for 2 hours.
That's why I say though, GameStop, like we need GameStop.
I don't think we do.
And the reason why I say we need GameStop is that if GameStop is gone, right, then there's still going to be physical media that could be sold by Best Buy, Walmart, Amazon. That's still going to be there. But if you have a central location, a large organization that is focused on gaming, that allows people a place to consume physical copies, trade in, purchase, a place where they can try out games, a place where they can go and meet up, get their collectible, something like that. But if there is a big gorilla in the room that is specific to gaming, I think that has a positive effect on the industry, especially when we look at some of the practices of the Best Buys and the Walmarts that have infected the gaming industry, because people are now focused on profitability as opposed to what is more fun gamer. You know what I mean?
Well, so to that point, the reason why I like GameStops is because if you browse the used section, you see some really interesting games that you'll never see at a Best Buy or Amazon. Like, you'll see them on Amazon, obviously, if you know what you're looking for. But if you're just browsing through, the used section of a random GameStop, you'll most likely find a couple games you never knew existed. Mm-hmm. And you pick them up. They're used. Who cares? They have sales, relatively often. You can pick up games for relatively cheap. And who knows? Like, for me, I've played so many games. You take advantage of the 4 for $20 or whatever. Like,
yeah.
And there's some really good games that I never would have ever thought about, that I would never have known existed unless I went into a GameStop and saw this this bucket full of games. Mm-hmm. And it's that's what I like about that kind of stuff, is you'll see games that you won't see anywhere else. And that's what kind of concerns me with GameStop possibly closing down, is that discovery is going to be gone. You're going to be kind of it'll still be there through online forums, I guess, if it's all digital, right? But
right.
The idea of just going into a shop and oh, this is hey, this cover looks cool. It's $4. I'll buy it.
All right.
I mean, I feel GameStop has been awful for the industry. Period.
Yes. I agree on that.
They have 100% tainted the industry. Someone in Barnes and Noble's great wisdom, because they're the ones that own GameStop, bought Funkoland. Because, Funkoland was very small scale. They were doing this whole used trade-in thing. The whole structure was new. And someone smart was like, we need to buy that and then take ownership of the used game market, which was fine. But now they created that gray market area, which has been ruining, the relationship between publishers and GameStop and even the fans. If GameStop goes away, then Best Buy will probably step in. Look at Fry's Electronics. They're pretty much dead. They're a corpse of what they once were. All of my Best Buys locally have started stocking way more PC parts than they ever have in the past 5 years. I mean, I'm talking Asus motherboards. But I'm just saying, because of Fry's vanishing and Fry's in Micro Centers and things like that, they are the place you go to buy PC parts. Best Buy is now filling in that gap. So I feel that if GameStop went away, Best Buy would swoop in and be like, well, we have huge stores. We can turn a part of our store into a pseudo GameStop. We can buy more games. We have the distribution channels already. We can build that out. It's the only reason we haven't done that is because GameStop already owns the lion's share of that market.
Yeah, so that would be the replacement of something better as far as the free market goes.
Right. So GameStop going away isn't a problem. It's someone else that was kind of in that market. They just eat that up. And I'm not saying it's going to make it better for anyone, but physical media isn't going to go anywhere. Yeah, someone else is going to pick up the slack.
Yeah, all I'm saying is there's nowhere else I'm going to find big bumping for the 360.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, game over video games in Texas, you probably could. You live in a smaller shop.
I'm not flying out to Texas for a 50-cent game.
And,
no, I'm tracking. I know what you're saying.
And with what Devani was saying about Best Buy, they may be stocking more PC parts now, and I did see this when I was out video card shopping. It's still one aisle. It's not more than that, if anything. It's the same as movies. It's they can bump it up, but the choice for them to do so, would they be willing to do that? Yeah, exactly.
Right. Because, I mean, you still have Newegg, you still have Amazon. There's still other competitors in the market. So Best Buy is well, we don't need to put too much money into this. But we're saying we're getting rid of a major player, which is GameStop, out of the physical space market, like a brick and mortar market. Best Buy would be foolish not to eat that void, fill that void in as fast as possible before Walmart does it, before Target does it. Before Myers does it, they need to be as agile as possible because they understand that big box retail is going away for the most part with media.
Yeah. I don't know.
Damn,
The way
this-
they
this is
handled
good
that
conversation.
gaming rewards thing, I don't remember what it's
I'm
called.
so mad about that.
The Gamer Club, I don't know if they really have that much of a focus on gaming. If
mean, they
GameStop
would-
came out or died.
But they would hire GameStop execs and stuff. Like
But
once
that-
they collapsed, they would eat those guys up too. So it's, I mean, they just have a new GameStop with a Best Buy logo at this point.
I don't know if I want any GameStop execs anywhere anywhere
I
near
wouldn't
anything.
either.
I mean, that makes sense though. What do you say? It makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
It does make sense.
We'll just have to wait and see, since it's definitely on the horizon. I would love to get Jamal in here if he could talk about anything behind the scenes, GameStop wise.
That actually would be a phenomenal.
Maybe we can talk and see if we can get him on in next week, especially with all these changes and everything. Because I haven't heard from him. I asked him a question about GameStop the other day, and he didn't respond.
Yeah, I go there, man. You can't talk about it.
That
We'll
is
put him in
awesome.
darkness, and we'll change the name. Nobody will notice him.
Just ask your questions on the GameStop Reddit. They'll tell you everything.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's crazy in there right now. It's a madhouse. We got some comments in the chat. Fuzzy Butt been active. I'm fine. I'm fine with them dying. I mean, it's my fault for not double checking, but there's a bunch of why I got fired or why I left stories that make the company seem bad in terms of GameStop. Then Skill NT said, I gave up my seat to a blind person on the bus today. If only I knew that's how I would lose my job as a bus driver. That's just a random comment. Chin in the chat is not necessarily about because the way the gaming landscape is changing. He's saying he's disagreeing with how the importance of GameStop. And then Fuzzy Butt brought up like digital codes, much to what I was showing off with my Doom copy. It's something that is reusable, but has to be checked to a system, like DevMonty was saying. And then Chin saying that the idea of specialty stores is dying. So in terms of like computer stores, video game stores, we're seeing a movement away from that, unfortunately. On your side, Angel, let's see.
Yeah, to be fair, I was super bummed out when the vacuum store closed down the street.
There's so many places
All
to
they
get.
sold was vacuum.
Blue
Yeah,
Cheese
that really sucks.
was saying there's so many places to get physical copies, like Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, Target, that she doesn't think GameStop would have a big effect. But what we're saying is like, or as we were
We're
saying,
talking about the experience of going into a store and looking at something, not just collecting games.
yeah, and just kind of the importance of a game-specific store and what that would mean for like physical copies continuing. Let's see, who else? Personally, I wouldn't. She didn't utilize the trade-in games, which I don't do that anymore either. But that's still that gives kids a way to, well, now that they check it as like a what do you call it? A pawn shop. They check your ID now, like a pawn shop. The kids can't really go in alone, but that's a way for kids to be able to get new games. Like I know that's for myself. That was the only way I could get new games is trading old games, because I could only get games like once a year. So that's also an important like market just for kids to be able to have new experiences in the medium. And honestly, I don't mind having both sometimes. The internet, well, back to the digital. CFed says he doesn't mind both. But yeah. We should probably wrap it up. We've been going for 2.5 hours.
Good conversation.
Yeah, we had a great conversation. We fell into that podcast pit hole where our show's going to get longer every time, I think. Next week, 3-hour show. But thank you guys, DevMonty, Ryan, GnarBlast, for hanging out in the chat, giving us your opinions on Doom.
I'm still dodging Nobunaga's ambition, by the way. I'm not going to play that game today.
Of course. DevMonty, do you stream on anything still, or are you still stream agnostic?
Stream agnostic for the moment. You know, I fired it up last week. Angel saw me play a little bit of Dying Light just to kind of test it out, see how the rig's running. I may get back into it. I don't know.
Well,
But it's, you know,
drop your link.
twitch.com/DevMonty.
There you go. Twitch.tv/DevMonty. Ryan, you can see him at twitch.tv/nar_blast.
Yeah.
Next week, I don't know what we're going to be talking about. We'll see what happens in the gaming landscape.
Nobunaga's Ambition.
Yeah, Nobunaga's Ambition on Nintendo. Remastered, re-released, just to spite Ryan. But yeah, thank you guys for watching today. It was a great conversation. I think, well, it's going to be our best show. It's only our third show, but it's our best show. Angel, Angel, final thoughts? Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Well, there's a lot that's changing in the world. There's a lot that's changing in the digital space, in the gaming world. But I guess what's best to understand is that a lot of it is good. A lot of it's exciting. Things are going to be fresh. We're not quite sure what's going to be happening, and there's that anticipation that is a good thing. So I really am looking forward to seeing how things are going to play out in the future. So it's going to be a different world. That's what I think. Oh, and I'm going to be streaming Doom.
Oh,
so be sure to come back to the station to watch me kill more hell's demons.
Twitch.tv/Trindominus. Find them there. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, right?
Close. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays are my hard days.
There we go.
But make sure you follow, because sometimes I do random streams in between there. So like today, I'm going to be streaming in a little bit. So make sure you hit that follow button.
All right, yeah. Follow Angel. Doom later today. Follow myself over on twitch.tv/YourFace and mixer.com/YourFace. I will be streaming Doom tonight and throughout the week, playing some Animal Crossing, finishing Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and just whatever other nonsense I get into. But that's it for us tonight, or today. I think it's night for me and Angel.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for stopping by, watching, hanging out,
Thank you, everybody.
chatting, calling in. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Everybody
I hope the music's
buy
playing.
Cuphead.
Go buy Cup. We have no music. Oh, what? Damn it! You know, we're just gonna we're gonna end it like this.
Management meeting. Management meeting.
Terrible. Terrible.
I can't find
Where's
the thing.
Felipe?
Oh
Felipe, I'm gonna need you to fix this.
Perfect ending.
Do you have a sound guy?
Angel's the one with the sound guy. I don't have anything. I don't know. The music's not playing, so we'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Ba-dum-bum.
Well, I mean, that's how you end a show, right?